Chapter 595 Stars Fall Like Rain on Earth. Seeking subscriptions? Underscore 2 The prime god surveyed his surroundings. First, let's see what the Longshan Patriarch has to say. If he's willing to share the opportunity of the Supreme God with us, we can allow him to join us. This statement immediately won the approval of the other prime gods. If they could obtain the opportunity of the Supreme God peacefully, they naturally wouldn't want to fight desperately. Who knows what kind of cards the Longshan Patriarch holds, for him to dare come knocking so boldly. He must be confident. Even though they, the 24 prime gods, were confident in suppressing the Longshan Patriarch, they might still be forcefully exchanged by him for a few of their number. No prime god was confident that they wouldn't be the ones exchanged. This spatial layer has been sealed? Lin Yuan, having only just arrived at the Ocean of Light, immediately noticed the changes in the spatial layer. Such a feeble seal. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. With his power, he only needed to gently tear it to shatter such a seal. However, his purpose for coming here was for the divine lattices of the gods. The sealing of the Ocean of Light was precisely to Lin Yuan's liking. While Lin Yuan was pondering, several figures began to appear in the distance. They were the many true gods who had been ordered by the prime god to hurry over. Is that the Longshan Patriarch? Fortuitously gained the opportunity of the Supreme God? The Supreme God, oh, that's an existence even we true gods can't look up to. I had always thought the Supreme God was a fiction. I didn't expect he really existed. The many true gods looked at Lin Yuan with various emotions in their eyes: awe, greed, excitement, curiosity, and more. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Just then, 24 figures silently appeared above the many true gods. These 24 figures seemed eternal, emanating an almost immortal aura. 24 prime gods? The 12 prime gods from the dark abyss have also come? It seems today the Longshan Patriarch is in great peril. The opportunity of the Supreme God, if the prime gods can vie for it, so can I. The various true gods had different thoughts. In their eyes, Longshan Yuan was merely a common Viscount heir among mortals, who, after gaining the opportunity of the Supreme God, had suddenly reached this level of strength. If that opportunity of the Supreme God fell into their hands, might they not hope to surpass the prime gods? Longshan Patriarch. Just then, a towering prime god with golden dragon horns on his head spoke. He was the Rainbow Dragon God, the source of faith for all dragons in the world. Strictly speaking, the Rainbow Dragon clan bloodline within Lin Yuan came from this prime god. What brings you here today? The Rainbow Dragon God inquired, staring at Lin Yuan. Although he greatly desired the opportunity of the Supreme God within Lin Yuan, the more it was at times like these, the less he could afford to show any impatience. I have come here to propose a trade, Lin Yuan said with a smile. He looked at the many true gods and the 24 prime gods, his heart also full of expectation. How many layers would these divine lattices and true god forms expand his spatial layers to? A trade? You want to negotiate a trade with us? The Rainbow Dragon God was slightly taken aback, as were the other 23 prime gods. What trade? The prime god of light directly asked. I would like to borrow everyone's divine lattice, Lin Yuan said. Upon hearing this, not only did the 24 prime gods fall silent, but the many true gods below also fell silent. The divine lattice is the absolute core of a deity. Handing over one's divine lattice to someone else is tantamount to entrusting them with one's life. Especially for the prime gods, their status stems from their true god forms. Handing over the true god form, should Lin Yuan harbor ill intentions, they would be doomed without redemption. Longshan Patriarch, you are too arrogant, the dark god said coldly. You want us to hand over our divine lattice? What do you intend to offer in exchange? Though there was no agreement to Lin Yuan's proposal, the dark god still wished to know what Lin Yuan had in mind for the trade. As long as you hand over your divine lattices, I will spare your lives, Lin Yuan said frankly. Ha ha ha, it seems, Longshan Patriarch, you are quite confident in dealing with us? And you'll spare us? Today, you better just stay put in the Ocean of Light. Many prime gods and true gods were amused. even though Lin Yuan demonstrated spatial skills surpassing those of ordinary prime gods. But now, they had 24 prime gods and a large number of true gods. Even if the strength of the Longshan Patriarch was formidable, it was impossible for him to contend against them. The power held by the 24 prime gods corresponded to the origin source forces of this realm, which was why they were confident they could suppress Lin Yuan. As long as they joined forces, no one could stop them unless it was the supreme god himself. It seems negotiations are off the table. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. Persuading the gods to voluntarily hand over their divine lattice was indeed challenging. However, for Lin Yuan, the impact wasn't significant. He could simply take it himself if needed. Longshan Patriarch, hand over the supreme god opportunity, and we will let you go. The main god of rank spoke up. Originally, his subordinate spirits had planned to recruit the Longshan Patriarch, thus he still harbored a sense of compassion towards Lin Yuan. Right, hand over the supreme god opportunity, and all will be well. The opportunity of the supreme god is not something you can enjoy alone. The other prime gods immediately said, staring intently at Lin Yuan, their eyes filled with longing. They no longer hid their intentions, directly demanding the supreme god's opportunity from Lin Yuan. As for whether this would enrage the supreme god? If the supreme god truly did not wish them to obtain the supreme opportunity, the prime gods wouldn't have had any contact with Lin Yuan at all. Since up to this point, the supreme god had given no indication, it meant that the supreme god's opportunity in the hands of the Longshan Patriarch could be seized. The supreme god's opportunity? Lin Yuan raised an eyebrow. Never mind, there's no point in arguing with you. Since you all wish to die, I will satisfy you. Upon saying this, all the true gods were a bit astonished, and the 24 prime gods tensed up. Although they were greedy, reason still prevailed. Considering how domineering the Longshan Patriarch had been up to this point, could he really possess the power to sweep through numerous true gods and the 24 prime gods? However, before the true gods and the 24 prime gods could react, Lin Yuan raised his right hand, instantly occupying 1,200,000,000 spatial layers, and a terrifying force swept over all true gods and prime gods. The first to feel despair were the many true gods, who immediately sensed everything about themselves beginning to shatter, their physical souls and more. No, a large number of true gods turned into dust. Even the oldest upper-rank gods were unable to resist even a fraction of Lin Yuan's strike, and their wills instantly plunged into darkness, leaving only their sparkling divine lattices in place. 1,200,000,000 spatial layers shook back and forth, quickly enveloping the 24 prime gods. Each prime god looked terrified. They tried to hide deeper into the spatial layers, only to find every layer they could occupy was also covered by Lin Yuan's strike. Longshan Ling outside the Longshan Great Hall. The members of the Longshan family were still excitedly discussing. Was that the ocean of light just now? The holiest world where the gods reside. I didn't expect the Patriarch could enter whenever he wanted. Nonsense, with the Patriarch's strength evident, even in the ocean of light, he must be among the most formidable spirits, just below the prime gods. The faces of the people from the Longshan family were full of pride. Right, just now the Patriarch mentioned negotiating a deal with the gods. What does that mean? A family member seemed to think of something and couldn't help but raise their own question. Should be just the normal meaning of a trade, right? Not sure, but since it's a negotiation, it could either succeed or fail. Right, but what if the Patriarch fails to negotiate with the gods? The members of the Longshan family thought about it, and couldn't help but show a worried expression on their faces. Hopefully, the Patriarch didn't already have a conflict or misunderstanding with the gods just after entering the ocean of light. Just then, a family member from the Longshan family seemed to have noticed something, their voice trembling a bit. Look up at the sky. The sky! Though puzzled, the people of the Longshan family looked toward the expanse above. But upon doing so, they witnessed a scene they would never forget in their lifetimes. They saw that, originally in the firmament above, eternal stars were suspended. However, under everyone's incredulous gazes, one of the stars began to fall, followed by a cluster of stars falling, And then, stars across the entire firmament fell. Dense and numerous stars, suspended in the sky for perhaps tens of thousands of years, all began to fall simultaneously like a meteor shower. Stars rained down upon the earth. Chapter 596 Twilight of the Gods. Subscribe please. Outside the Longshan Great Hall. Many members of the Longshan family, trembling in spirit, looked up at the sky. There, massive stars fell from the heavens like raindrops. It was not merely a few stars falling, but large swathes and indeed every star across the entire sky. This was simply unthinkable. Everyone's mind was muddled, staring dumbfounded at the shocking scene before them. You must understand, in this world the stars above were not just stars, they were the abode of the gods in the divine kingdoms, symbolizing the immortality of the deities. Even those without any belief held the stars above with utmost reverence, the pinnacle of what life could achieve. For ages, in nearly everyone's eyes, the stars above were eternal, unchanged from their birth until their death, and from their descendants' birth until their death, always the same stars. Thus, to many people, the stars above seemed as eternal as the world itself. But now, the worldview of many members of the Longshan family began to shatter as the stars all began to fall simultaneously. What's going on? The stars, those are the divine kingdoms of the deities, how could they fall? The fall of the divine kingdoms means the deities are perishing, but how is that possible? Deities are immortal, how could they perish? The members of the Longshan family couldn't believe it. Some even thought they were dreaming, slapping themselves several times, only to find they could still feel pain, horror nearly overflowing in their hearts. This is bad, the clan leader just entered the ocean of light. The rapid fall of the divine kingdoms clearly indicates something drastic has happened in the ocean of light and the abyss of darkness. Could something have happened to the clan leader? A few heads of the Longshan family thought further. Lin Yuan was a pillar of their clan, about to lead the family to the peak of the plateau of myriad nations, and now this had happened? I hope nothing has happened to the clan leader. A few elders of the Longshan family silently thought. Above the sky, countless stars that had hung in the sky for eons began to fall all at once, and not only the Longshan family could see it. At this moment, in the vast realms of humanity, plateau of myriad nations, and other places teeming with life, beings also noticed the changes above. Are the stars falling? Are the deities perishing? How is this possible? How could so many deities perish at once? In many secluded corners, demigods who had survived tens or hundreds of thousands of years were equally stunned. They had lived longer, knew the history of the past, and were aware of the existence of divine wars. Deities were not incapable of perishing, it was just that they lived for so long that almost all beings believed them to be eternal. But in reality, deities could die, such as during the divine wars. During a divine war, true gods of the ocean of light and the abyss of darkness would slaughter each other, leading to the perishing of deities. But even in the most brutal divine wars, the death of several dozen or even hundreds of deities was the maximum, but now, the number of fallen stars is in the thousands? Many demigod veterans felt their hearts slow, because the scene before them was too soul-shattering. Some even wondered if the gods of the ocean of light and the abyss of darkness had been wiped out in one fell swoop. Otherwise, how could so many stars fall at once? What exactly is going on? What really happened in the ocean of light and the abyss of darkness? Could it be that the 24 prime gods are jointly slaughtering the deities? Many demigod veterans couldn't help but speculate in this direction, their faces unconsciously showing fear. The only ones capable of causing such mass perishing of true gods were the prime gods, and not just one but 24 prime gods in a joint massacre. If even one prime god disagreed and resisted, the frequency of falling stars wouldn't be this rapid. From the area and range of the falling stars, demigod veterans vaguely deduced that a one-sided massacre of true gods was taking place in the ocean of light or the abyss of darkness. This massacre was one-sided, with the slaughtered true gods having no power to resist. This made all the demigod veterans somewhat disheartened. They did not know how much they had sacrificed to ignite their divine fire, step into the 7th level, then lie in hiding, secretly gathering faith, hoping to consolidate a divine kingdom and elevating it. And yet, now they saw the true gods, whom they considered their ultimate goal, being slaughtered in the ocean of light and the abyss of darkness like pigs and dogs. Could the deities they revered so highly also have such weak moments when they couldn't determine their own fates and could only wait to die? For a moment, many demigod veterans were unstable, and the divine fires they had ignited began to flicker. What's the use of gathering faith anymore? Elevating which divine kingdom? Even if one became a true god and entered the ocean of light, what could they do? It might not even be as safe or as comfortable as the human realm. Why would the prime gods slaughter the true gods? For faith? That doesn't make sense. The 24 prime gods already occupy the majority of faith in humanity. Even if they cleanse all the true gods, their own faith won't undergo a qualitative change. Is it because they are worried about their positions being threatened? That's also unlikely. Not to mention the power disparity between a prime god and a true god, the number of prime gods is fixed. Even if there were an outstandingly talented true god, without the true god form, they still couldn't become a prime god, let alone shake the position of a prime god. Chapter 597 Twilight of the Gods, subscribe please. Too many demigod old monsters were communicating rapidly. As many as 24 upper-rank gods, actually entering the arena to slaughter ordinary true gods. A relatively younger demigod said indignantly, wanting to condemn the 24 prime gods. Just at this moment, in the higher sky, situated above all the stars, hung 24 colossal stars, which belonged to the divine kingdoms of the prime gods. And now, following the fall of star after star to the mortal realm, these 24 colossal stars also began to fall one by one. In just a few breaths, more than 10 prime gods' divine kingdoms had plummeted to the mortal world. This silenced the demigods of the mortal realm who were condemning and criticizing the 24 prime gods, and immediately after, they plunged into confusion. It turned out that it was not only the true gods that were perishing. Were the prime gods also perishing? This scene filled all the demigods with an unprecedented terror. The prime gods were falling, and it was a mass downfall at that. Then who exactly was the one carrying out the slaughter? If the 24 prime gods were joining forces to slaughter the true gods, how could the prime gods possibly be falling as well? It is known, the battles between prime gods are long, and even for the strongest light prime god and the dark god, killing the weakest prime god is almost impossible. Not to mention a crushing defeat like this? What on earth happened in the ocean of light and the dark abyss? Murmured an elderly demigod whose lifespan was coming to an end and whose divine fire was about to go out. Even the prime gods were perishing, something that not even a divine war had ever seen. It's the twilight of the gods, this is the twilight of the gods. Another demigod thought silently to himself. The gods here refer to both true gods and prime gods. Not good, the divine kingdoms falling into the mortal realm will have an immeasurable impact on the mortal world, speculated one demigod, seemingly recalling something. Even the mighty demigods were shocked by the sight of the stars falling from the sky, but very few of them considered what consequences these stars falling into the mortal realm might lead to. Years ago, the divine wars of the gods caused several stars to fall into the mortal realm, leading to irreversible destructive effects on the mortal world. Tens of thousands of years have not recovered, and those forbidden and desolate places in the mortal realm are exactly where the divine kingdoms ultimately fell. After all, what fell were not mere stars, but divine kingdoms, containing vast amounts of energy. The fallout from just a few stars was severe enough. Now with the stars cascading, and among them, even more vast divine kingdoms of the prime gods. If these divine kingdoms really hit the ground, perhaps the mortal realm might still exist, but 9 out of 10 of all living beings dwelling there would surely perish. These demigod old monsters wouldn't be likely to survive much longer either. This is not the twilight of the gods, this is the apocalypse of all beings, proclaimed a demigod who showed himself, not caring to hide any longer, for in any case all would die. As for running? With the speed at which the stars fell to the mortal world, where could the demigods possibly flee? And with so many stars falling together, no matter how far they ran, they would still be within the range of the divine kingdoms. Just as many demigods turned pale, realizing they were about to face death. A black and white yin-yang barrier, slicing across the vast mortal realm in the form of a giant net, caught all the stars falling into the mortal world within its grasp. At the ends of the mortal realm, Lin Yuan's two primordial spirits, the Taiyin primordial spirit and the Taiyang divine spirit, stood aloft in the sky. The giant net of yin-yang taiji that sliced through the entire mortal realm was precisely Lin Yuan's doing. Long ago, Lin Yuan had his sights set on the divine kingdoms of the gods, which had existed for tens of thousands of years, absorbing countless faith and containing massive amounts of pure energy. Now that Lin Yuan's true body had gone to negotiate in the ocean of light with the gods, should the negotiations fail and fighting begin, Lin Yuan naturally wouldn't waste the falling stars. Even if he had no use for them himself, he could use the primal force to revert all divine kingdoms back to their original source, turning them into the purest energy for the origin fine gold to absorb. With indirect means, they were brought back to the main world. Whoosh! Along with the unfurling of the immense yin-yang taiji net of black and white, countless divine kingdoms of the gods appeared within Lin Yuan's inner world. To accommodate so many divine kingdoms at once, even including those of prime gods, would certainly cause the inner world of any other ninth-rank powerhouse to burst. Yet, the apparent size of Lin Yuan's inner world was close to 200 million miles in diameter, and it even established 120 million spatial layers. Most importantly, Lin Yuan had three such inner worlds. One for his true self, one for the Taiyang divine spirit, and one for the Taiyin primordial spirit. For 300 years, Lin Yuan's two primordial spirits had already used the illusory reality secret technique to turn into flesh and blood, and then, with the aid of the mysterious gourd, they amplified their physical bodies and inner worlds to the current limit. Too many. Lin Yuan's mind was filled with pleasure. As each divine kingdom entered his inner world, it was quickly dissolved, segregated, and then integrated into the bell-shaped origin fine gold. The vast mortal realm. The numerous demigods who were just preparing to close their eyes and await death suddenly discovered an extra layer of black and white yin-yang taiji giant net under the vault of heaven. All stars falling into the mortal realm disappeared the moment they touched the giant net, as if they had never existed. What is this? It actually stopped the divine kingdoms from falling down? The many ancient demigods couldn't believe it. Divine kingdoms falling from atop the sky carried terrifying energy and impact, definitely far surpassing a single strike from a true god burning their divine body and divine powers. Countless stars falling were akin to the gods igniting everything in a final blaze of glory. Even the prime gods dared not withstand it directly. But now, under that black and white giant net, all falling stars were easily nullified, including the vast divine kingdoms of prime gods. The owner of this giant net. Some ancient demigods trembled inwardly, faintly guessing that the owner of the giant net might be the source behind the fall of the gods and the prime gods. Otherwise, how could things be so coincidental? The stars suspended in the heavens had just started to fall, and they were immediately caught by the giant net? And the strength to effortlessly bear the impact of so many stars falling, couldn't the slaughter of gods and prime gods also be within the realm of possibility? Ocean of light. Under the strike driven by Lin Yuan's inner world, a terrifying force crushed everything it touched through layer upon layer of space. In just an instant, over 80% of true gods had perished, and the remaining 20% were upper-rank gods at their peak. Even if reduced to dust, they could reconvene. The divine beings of this part of the world had undergone a transformation, foregoing their original flesh and blood bodies. Their divine bodies were composed of the purest faith. There were no weaknesses. However, it's unfortunate that under the strike that vibrated through multiple spatial layers time and again, no matter how many times these upper-rank gods reconvened, they would turn to dust once more. Even the lofty prime gods, caught off guard, saw their divine bodies shatter numerous times. Lin Yuan's strike primarily targeted the prime gods. As for the true gods, they mostly only endured the aftershocks. Thus, before a small number of true gods had entirely perished, Some prime gods had begun to fall. What exactly is this? What level of power is this? Goddess of the magic web, didn't you say that the Longshan Patriarch didn't surpass the 9th level? This is a supreme god. This is the power at the level of a supreme god. One by one, the prime gods roared, using every method to resist the strike that pierced through countless spatial layers, but to no avail. Their divine bodies shattered over and over again. Even with the profound depths of the prime gods, they couldn't endure such repeated destruction. Go! The dark god from the dark abyss didn't hesitate to try and flee, but quickly encountered the barrier of spatial layers sealed by the light god. Light god, you deserve to die. The prime gods of the dark abyss cursed the light god in their hearts. The barrier sealing the ocean of light spatial layers, to beings like these prime gods, posed difficulty to break, but it was just difficulty. It would simply take some time. But now, where was there any time? Prime god after prime god from the dark abyss tried to escape, but failed to do so. Chapter 598 Endless Realizations, Never Fully Understood. Subscribe please. Longshan Patriarch, we are willing to submit. Yes, we are willing to offer our divine lattice, as long as the Longshan Patriarch spares our lives and commands us at will hereafter. We also ask the Longshan Patriarch for mercy. Witnessing true gods and even prime gods falling one after another, the surviving gods were instantly chilled to the bone and began to beg for mercy. Even the divine spirits who had lived through long ages trembled with fear in the face of life and death. Compared to death, offering up their divine lattice seemed like an acceptable sacrifice, especially since Lin Yuan's displayed power had clearly surpassed the prime god, reaching the level of a supreme god. To plead with a supreme god was not a shameful thing. Willing to submit? Lin Yuan's expression was calm, unmoved. If Lin Yuan had entered the ocean of light intending to negotiate with the gods, and they had agreed to his demands, offering their divine lattice voluntarily, Lin Yuan really wouldn't have exterminated them all. But now, having already taken action, Lin Yuan had killed so many true gods and prime gods, it seemed somewhat redundant to accept the gods' submission at this point. After all, Lin Yuan's time in this world was only 1,110 years. These gods submitting now would surely be reluctant and unwilling. Once Lin Yuan ended his journey and returned to the main world, what actions these gods might take once they lost the deterrence of Lin Yuan was unpredictable. Therefore, with the intention of eradicating them from the roots, since Lin Yuan had chosen to take action, there was no need to leave any leeway. Voluntarily offering the divine lattice? Even if they didn't offer it, Lin Yuan could take it himself. And he could also gain a divine kingdom containing vast energies, useful for enhancing the origin fine gold. How to choose was clear to Lin Yuan. Boom boom boom. Accompanied by terrifying energy vibrations, the spatial layers shook intensely. Within the ocean of light, all true gods had completely perished, unable to withstand such overwhelming power, no matter how ancient. Only 8 prime gods survived. Even so, these 8 prime gods had paid a heavy price, their energies severely depleted. From the moment Lin Yuan had started to act until now, it had been less than 10 breaths' time. Open! The prime god of light burned his divine power, finally unlocking the spatial layer's seal of the ocean of light. Run! Hurry and run! The remaining 8 prime gods, not daring to hesitate, occupied deeper spatial layers and quickly distanced themselves from the ocean of light. Lin Yuan stood in place, his gaze deep. The prime gods were the darlings of this world, and the true divine nature embodied some of the authority of this world. The prime gods mustered their strength to flee, and even if Lin Yuan opened 120 million layers of space, it would be difficult to stop them in a short time. After all, essentially, Lin Yuan and the 9th rank prime gods still existed at the same life level, albeit Lin Yuan's foundation was slightly stronger. As long as they were in this world, the prime gods' methods of escape would far surpass those of regular 9th stage peak powerhouses. Initially, Lin Yuan hadn't expected his venture into the ocean of light would result in the death of so many prime gods at once. Lin Yuan had planned to settle all true gods, while the remaining prime gods were to be hunted down one by one. The prime gods had indeed powerful escaping tactics, but if pressed hard, once Lin Yuan controlled more and more vast and deep spatial layers, these prime gods would still be like birds in a cage, still manageable. What Lin Yuan hadn't anticipated was the cooperation from the prime god of light, who had voluntarily sealed the ocean of light, turning the dwelling place of the gods into a complete prison, giving Lin Yuan the opportunity to directly eliminate 16 prime gods. Before Lin Yuan's arrival, the strongest life in this world were the prime gods, and many of the machinations within the ocean of light were targeted at the prime gods. The initial sealing of the ocean of light's spatial layers was meant to briefly trap the other prime gods. Unexpectedly, this now became the death warrant for all prime gods. In fact, under such circumstances, with Lin Yuan's power fully unleashed, both true gods and prime gods would have died within 5 breaths. However, such a forceful unleashing of power was too terrifying, and Lin Yuan was worried about damaging the true divine nature and prime divine nature within the gods. The divine lattice was not indestructible. Lin Yuan could easily destroy the demigod lattice if he wished. True divine nature might be vastly more robust than the demigod lattice, but it might not withstand a full blow from Lin Yuan, and as for the prime divine nature, it might withstand it or it might not. But Lin Yuan didn't want to gamble. After all, each divine lattice, prime divine nature, represented a shortcut for Lin Yuan, their value far greater than the true gods and prime gods themselves. So when he had acted just now, Lin Yuan had been extremely cautious, carefully regulating his strength to avoid affecting any divine lattice or prime divine nature. The prime divine nature of the god of divination? Lin Yuan raised his right hand. A luminescent white divine lattice slowly floated, belonging to the god of divination among the 24 prime gods. In the initial wave of crushing power, the god of divination was the first prime god to fall, not because the god of divination had the weakest survival capabilities. In fact, the god of divination's capability to survive ranked among the top 3 out of the 24 prime gods. The easy death of the god of divination was entirely due to the backlash from the door to the myriad realms, with only 1/10 of its strength remaining. With the god of divination's nature having suffered such a blow, it should have hidden within its divine kingdom and not come out. But the opportunity related to a supreme god was too tempting. Even knowing its severely wounded state, the god of divination still wanted to join in. What if it fortuitously received the opportunity from a supreme god? Chapter 599 Endless Comprehension. There's simply no end to it. Please subscribe. Thus, harboring such thoughts, the god of divination became the first prime god to completely perish. Time main god form? Lin Yuan carefully examined the bright white crystal in his hand. During the recent confrontation with the prime god, Lin Yuan had been especially cautious. As soon as the prime god's divine body utterly dissipated, Lin Yuan immediately acted to protect the fallen true god form. It's cracked in parts. Lin Yuan observed for a while and noticed the rifts on the divine lattice. It was precisely these cracks that had resulted in the god of divination's significant loss of strength. Facing Lin Yuan's strike, combined with the supreme god of light's action to block the spatial layers, the god of divination could only withstand the initial waves of obliteration before completely perishing. Those fissures must have been caused by the backlash from the door to the myriad realms, Lin Yuan thought to himself, noticing that the cracks had appeared some time ago. The impact should be minimal. Lin Yuan gazed at the time main god form, and through this key, Lin Yuan glimpsed the vast and mysterious essence of the rule of time in this world. I'll ponder it later. Lin Yuan collected his thoughts and solemnly placed the time main god form into his inner world. In the meantime, Lin Yuan glanced at the nearby hillock. It was composed of true divine lattices, and essentially all the existing true gods from the ocean of light over billions of years were there. To be precise, all divine lattices were there. A myriad of rules. Lin Yuan's gaze heated slightly as he looked at the hillock-shaped divine lattices, with numerous insights beginning to flood his mind. Hold back, hold back. Lin Yuan's consciousness exited the inner world. The last 8 prime gods? Lin Yuan looked towards the other spatial layers. Earlier, as soon as he acted, Lin Yuan had marked all of the prime gods, ensuring that no matter where they fled, they could not escape his perception. In fact, there was no need for marks. Merely by locking onto them with the law of cause and effect, he could determine the locations of those prime gods. Lin Yuan took direct action against the prime gods, creating the most intense causal effect, which, to those adept in the law of cause and effect, was undoubtedly a guiding light. Let them run for now. I will first deal with those true gods from the dark abyss. Lin Yuan casually tore through the spatial layers and stepped into the spatial layer where the dark abyss was located. This world was only so big. Even if those 8 prime gods fled, they could not possibly leave this world. Prime gods held the authority of heaven and earth and could not leave it. Once they did, the true god form within them would disintegrate. And somewhere in this world, a new true god form would recongeal. That is why, throughout history, the number of prime gods in this world has always remained at 24, neither increasing nor decreasing. Even if there were occasional historical instances of prime gods mysteriously vanishing, their true god forms would re-emerge within this world. That was also why Lin Yuan let the 8 prime gods escape. 1. Intercepting them was troublesome and might not be achievable. If too much force was used, there was a risk of damaging the true god forms. 2. The true god forms he most desired would not leave this world. In the deeper layers of space of the spatial layers, the dark god was fleeing in terror and unease. I should never have meddled in this turmoil. What chances related to the supreme god? All nonsense. The dark god's mind was still trembling with fear. The experience within the ocean of light had utterly terrified him. The divine body he thought indestructible showed such frailty before the Longshan Patriarch. The dark god felt that if the supreme god of light had activated the blockade of the spatial layers just a few dozen breaths slower, he might have ended up permanently in the ocean of light, just like those other true gods. Terrifying, utterly terrifying. The dark god's scalp tingled. But now I'm hiding in such a deep layer of the spatial layers, and I'm continuously on the move. That Longshan Patriarch, finding me won't be easy. What? The true gods of the dark abyss are being slaughtered by the Longshan Patriarch and are calling for my help? The dark god felt something and was slightly moved. As the second-born prime god of this world, the dark god had established the dark abyss and was deeply connected to it, responsive to the calls of the many true gods within it. But at this moment, I can barely save myself. How could I care for you? The dark god silently thought. You can call to me, but who can I call upon? The dark god felt helpless. Since proclaiming himself a prime god, he had never experienced such a dire escape as he did now, not even in the long-lasting battles with his archenemy, the supreme god of light, had he felt such despair. A moment later, Lin Yuan left the dark abyss. It's your turn now. Lin Yuan gazed into a certain spatial layer, where a prime god from the ocean of light was fleeing. Rainbow Dragon God? Lin Yuan's figure disappeared once again, pursuing his quarry. Deep within the spatial layers, a rainbow divine dragon, millions of feet in length, was frantically escaping. With each movement of its dragon body, it traversed a vast number of spatial layers. Just then, the spatial layer where the million-feet-long rainbow divine dragon was, got claimed in an instant, and a figure appeared in front of the rainbow dragon god. It was Lin Yuan, Longshan Patriarch. The rainbow dragon god, somewhat desperate, said, "How can you be so fast?" As the prime god of the Rainbow Dragon clan, the Rainbow Dragon god was adept at manipulating space rules, but he hadn't expected Lin Yuan to catch up in such a short time. Do you have any last words you'd like to say? Lin Yuan said in a calm tone. In actuality, he was seizing the opportunity to occupy more spatial layers, for a battle between ninth-rank life forms essentially unfolded across countless spatial layers. Even if Lin Yuan opened up numerous spatial layers, he had to fully occupy them to form an absolute advantage. Before that complete occupation, a prime god proficient in space rules like the Rainbow Dragon god still had a chance to escape. Longshan Patriarch, I can feel the blood of my Rainbow Dragon clan flowing within you. The Rainbow Dragon god looked at Lin Yuan and said, in a way, we are still kin. The Rainbow Dragon god started to appeal to Lin Yuan for connection. At this moment he was willing to do anything to survive. Kin. Lin Yuan smiled faintly. When he had been asked to hand over the opportunity related to the Supreme God earlier, no one had mentioned kinship. Now, facing death, they were invoking kinship? I can see that you are also moving through the gaps between spatial layers to more distant depths of space, Lin Yuan stated directly. While he continued to occupy more spatial layers, the Rainbow Dragon God likewise wouldn't just wait to be killed. He was trying every effort to survive. In a direct confrontation, considering the combat power Lin Yuan had exhibited in the Ocean of Light, the Rainbow Dragon God knew it was impossible to catch up by any means. So he attempted to use his innate talent to shift instantly between spatial layers. But clearly, the Rainbow Dragon God's plan couldn't be concealed from Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan, who had occupied 1,200,000,000 spatial layers, had reached a terrifying realm in his perception of the nuances of space. Die. A moment later, Lin Yuan had already occupied 1,200,000,000 spatial layers in this place, and with a thought, a tremendous force crushed down upon the Rainbow Dragon God. No. The Rainbow Dragon God watched helplessly as all this unfolded. He tried to continue fleeing into even more distant spatial layers, but found it impossible as the space around him was completely sealed off. To think I would also meet a complete downfall one day? To die under the power of a supreme God-level force, perhaps it's worth it. The Rainbow Dragon God's divine body disintegrated. At the same time, a true God form imbued with a rainbow gleam fell down, which Lin Yuan caught in his hand. This true God form? Lin Yuan examined it closely. Compared to the other prime God forms Lin Yuan had obtained, the Rainbow Dragon God's was somewhat special, containing 7 different powers, or more accurately, 7 types of rules. It was regrettable that facing Lin Yuan, who had an overwhelming advantage, the Rainbow Dragon God did not even get a chance to use the 7 rules he possessed before dying. 7 more to go. Lin Yuan put away the true God form. His figure disappeared once again. As time slowly passed, all the demigods in the vast mortal world now focused their eyes on the sky above. The celestial vault, once studded with bright stars, was now dim and lightless, except for 5 or 6 massive stars that symbolized prime gods and still twinkled. But clearly, the remaining 5 or 6 stars wouldn't last long either, and soon after, 2 more fell. All the beings of the mortal world, countless creatures, fell silent, witnessing this unprecedented and shocking event. Chapter 600 Founding the Martial Realm. Please subscribe. Longshan Ling outside the Longshan Great Hall. Many members of the Longshan family were likewise gazing at the dark, lightless sky. Once, that was where the eternal divine kingdom of the gods resided, revered by all beings. How do I feel that the patriarch is still alive? The bloodline still exists? A core member of the Longshan family couldn't help but say. In this world, numerous night cultivation skills, and even the martial Tao cultivation skill indigenous to Lin Yuan, are all centered around the bloodline. Essentially, they are all about constantly exploring the ultimate potential of the bloodline. In the face of drastically shortening lifespans, comprehending external laws, the efficiency is too slow. Only by relying on the innate potential of one's own bloodline could one hope to ignite the divine fire before 1,000 years, ascend to the rank of 7th-layer demigod, and then plot to uplift a divine kingdom. Therefore, the powers of this world are extremely sensitive to bloodline perception, especially towards clan members sharing the same bloodline. As the strongest individual and patriarch of the Longshan family, Lin Yuan, although many clan members could not specifically sense Lin Yuan's bloodline, the fall of such an existence, the extinction of the bloodline, would be felt by all members of the Longshan family, causing a sorrow that emanated from the depths of their bloodline. But up to now, all members of the Longshan family had not felt such a sensation, especially Lin Yuan's parents, the Longshan Fong couple. They also did not sense their son's death. The patriarch isn't dead? Many members of the Longshan family widened their eyes, some unable to react. They had witnessed their patriarch entering the Ocean of Light, and now with such a great event occurring in the abode of the gods, with the gods perishing, their patriarch was still alive? It wasn't that they wished for the patriarch to die, but with the gods almost all dead, and the prime god nearly extinct, the patriarch also being in the ocean of light, how could it be that nothing at all had happened to him? Even though many members of the Longshan family had an almost blind faith in their patriarch, they never arrogantly believed that the patriarch's strength was greater than that of all the other gods and the prime god combined. Unless a few elderly members of the Longshan family's complexions slightly shifted, a dreadful guess faintly surfacing in their hearts. This guess was incredibly unbelievable, but did the unforeseen events unfolding fit only this inconceivable guess? Longshan Ling and a few other trusted subordinates of the clan leaders exchanged glances, the same conjecture emerging in their minds. That is, the horrifying scene causing this twilight of the gods before them, was it related to their patriarch? Or to put it plainly, was it done by their patriarch himself? This conjecture was supported by two pieces of evidence. First, the swift downfall of the gods began right after the patriarch entered the ocean of light. An occurrence never seen in eons happening just as the patriarch went in? If it were just this, everyone might not be suspicious and at most feel that their patriarch was unlucky. But up till now, the patriarch's bloodline had not perished and was still very much alive, in stark contrast with the dark and desolate sky. Is the patriarch slaughtering the gods? The souls of Longshan Ling and other trusted subordinates trembled, many of them having witnessed Lin Yuan's growth. Over hundreds of years, Lin Yuan had created countless myths, even effortlessly breaking free from the bloodline shackles of the first-generation Baron Longshan, becoming the first 7th-rank demigod in the history of the Longshan family. However, no matter what, one couldn't possibly overthrow the gods with individual power, could they? Let's wait for the patriarch to return, then we can ask him. Longshan Ling inhaled deeply, although after eliminating all other possibilities, the remaining implausible possibility, no matter how fantastical, was nevertheless the truth. But without the patriarch's personal confirmation, they were still somewhat incredulous. Deep within the numerous spatial layers, Lin Yuan was strolling leisurely, quickly closing the distance on the spatial layers with the figure frantically fleeing ahead. Prime God of Light. Lin Yuan looked towards the last remaining prime god. He was the first prime god born of this world, and also the most powerful among the 24 prime gods. Throughout the long years, the dark god fought against him and mostly emerged the loser. Longshan Patriarch, you are not a supreme god, you are definitely not a supreme god. The prime god of light despaired internally, continually breaking through layers of space, trying to reach the deepest region of this world space. Whether I am a supreme god or not has no significance as to whether you can survive, Lin Yuan said calmly. Previously, the prime god of light had summoned the other 23 prime gods and many true gods, trying to suppress Lin Yuan and seize what they believed to be the chance of the supreme god, with no mercy shown. If it hadn't been for Lin Yuan's strength being formidable enough, had he encountered the assault of the prime god of light during his 7th or 8th layer period, it would be he who would be fleeing desperately now. In dealing with enemies, Lin Yuan always eradicated them root and branch, and regarding the innocent, as long as they were true gods, they had all climbed atop countless commoners' corpses. What hadn't they done to gather faith? The mother goddess of lust established the lust church, tempting those high officials and nobles with carnal delights, but were those beautiful young women who seduced the high and mighty somehow deserving of their fate? In the eyes of the gods and the prime gods, beings were fodder to raise them, mere ants, just dust. As long as they didn't kill too many at a time, affecting the supply of faith, they had no scruples whatsoever. Now, regarding the gods and the prime gods as ants was in no way improper for Lin Yuan. Longshan Patriarch, as long as you let me go, I have the secrets of the supreme god to tell you. Sensing Lin Yuan drawing ever closer, the prime god of light immediately called out loudly. Chapter 601 Founding the Martial Realm. Please subscribe. Under Skatu, he was the first prime god born between heaven and earth, privy to many secrets. It said no living being has ever seen the supreme god, but the prime god of light indeed knew a secret related to the supreme god. You're talking about that palace at the deepest part of space? Lin Yuan said nonchalantly. Early on, when he swiftly took over many spatial layers, Lin Yuan sensed that there was more to the very fabric of this world's space, something ancient, an old palace. However, Lin Yuan was too busy pursuing the remaining prime gods, which is why he did not investigate immediately. He intended to deal with everything before exploring it. Now, the direction in which the prime god of light was fleeing was precisely that ancient palace located at the ultimate depths of space. You know, the prime god of light couldn't believe it. He was the first to discover that mysterious palace and speculated that it was related to the supreme god, but he never found any more useful information. You are too weak. At my level, there's hardly any secret left in this world. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly, once again bridging a great distance between spatial layers. Lin Yuan had now created 120 million spatial layers, while the number of spatial layers in the world itself was only around 1 trillion or so. In other words, if Lin Yuan wished, he could fully explore all the spatial layers of this world by spending some time, thanks to the volume of his own spatial layers. The many secrets hidden within layers upon layers of space were no secret to Lin Yuan. Die. Lin Yuan had closed in on the prime god of light without limit. Is this what death feels like? The prime god of light suddenly stopped moving, as his divine body and soul were eradicated. The divine lattice of light? Lin Yuan reached out with his right hand, and a divine lattice emanating infinite light appeared in his palm. It actually contains endless light and a part of the rule of time essence? Lin Yuan raised an eyebrow, slightly surprised. The prime god of light, indeed the first among prime gods, undoubtedly had the strongest strength among the 24 prime gods, with his divine lattice containing the essence of 2 rules. Although it did not compare to the rainbow dragon god's essence of 7 rules, both endless light and time were among the most powerful rule essences. However, during the escape just now, the prime god of light didn't utilize any time-related abilities. Lin Yuan contemplated for only a moment before he realized the reason. The rule of time, as profound and abstruse as it is, also had to consider the comparison of strengths between the 2 parties. For example, the most basic ability to pause time, in a close combat situation, is indeed useful. For fighting or fleeing, it belongs to a first-rate divine skill. But when there is a huge difference in strength and the essence of life, it's useless. Even rash usage might produce negative effects. If time were viewed as a long river, then stopping time would be akin to setting up a net at a certain segment, trapping life that follows the river's flow, causing it to come to a halt. But if the life one wishes to trap is a massive whale, far exceeding the net's bearing limit, then the only outcome would be that the net breaks and the whale would not pause at all. The prime god of light probably realized the excessively strong essence of Lin Yuan's life, and thus, until his death, he never employed any time-related abilities, because they would be meaningless. In fact, not just the rule of time, all other rule abilities, talents, and even divine skills are practically useless when the disparity in strength reaches a certain level. Just like Lin Yuan now, without employing any techniques and purely relying on the inner world that had 120 million spatial layers, he could crush any 9th-rank life form. Even if it was a life with a terrifyingly unique talent, there was no chance for it to resist in front of Lin Yuan. Under absolute strength, all methods are but frivolousness and show. Now that I've already come here, Lin Yuan put away the divine lattice of light and looked towards the ancient palace at the deepest part of space. Originally, Lin Yuan had planned to explore it once everything else had been taken care of, but now that he was here, he might as well take the opportunity to check it out. Whoosh! The Taiyang divine spirit appeared beside him. After transferring all the divine lattices from his inner world to the Taiyang divine spirit's inner world, Lin Yuan took a step forward and arrived at the deepest recesses of space. Even though Lin Yuan considered himself invincible in this world, he did not harbor any overweening thoughts. With the presence of the 2 great primordial spirits outside and having specifically left behind many droplets of his essence blood, even if Lin Yuan were to perish within the mysterious palace, it would not be a loss. The mysterious palace was majestic and grand, with a terrifying pressure that filled the air, A pressure so daunting that even mighty prime gods could only resist with difficulty. This was also why the prime god of light thought that this palace was related to the supreme god. Apart from the supreme god, who else could build a palace of such a level? Supreme god! Lin Yuan strolled leisurely down the main palace avenue, inwardly on slight alert. With his strength, he could ignore those oppressive forces, but this space was clearly not the work of a prime god. If there really was a supreme god present, perhaps it was indeed the work of such an entity. Half a day later, Lin Yuan had basically toured the entire palace. Just a palace? Lin Yuan observed carefully, even infiltrating deeper into the spatial layers, but still discovered nothing. It holds no value to me. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. He had observed the palace for a good half-day without gaining any insights, which paled in comparison to the divine lattice. Perhaps this palace hails from an even more distant past, Lin Yuan contemplated in silence. The era of gods originated with the light god, but what preceded the light god? It was far too remote. As for supreme gods? At Lin Yuan's current level, he could see the limits of this world. That was the 9th rank. And supreme gods were considered by all to exist beyond the 9th rank. Though Lin Yuan's strength far exceeded that of a prime god, and his life essence was frighteningly profound, he was still at the 9th rank stage, not having stepped into the 10th. To surpass the 9th rank, probably only the world consciousness of this world could achieve it. Lin Yuan was not unfamiliar with world consciousness, an almost selfless instinct born from the world itself. It was also known as Heavenly Tao. During his previous traversals, Lin Yuan had encountered the world consciousness several times. Since the era of gods, this world's consciousness had been subtly guiding the grand trends, albeit vaguely. Lin Yuan held no dread or fear towards the world will, because it wasn't life, it harbored no concrete emotions. As long as Lin Yuan didn't harbor thoughts of destroying the world consciousness wouldn't overly oppose him. During his 4th traversal in the 5 regions world, as the great demon Xiahou Yuan, the world consciousness had targeted him, but that was all. It had taken no direct action. Let's head back. Lin Yuan gave the palace one last glance and turned to leave. Swoosh. Lin Yuan returned to the mortal realm. I still need to contain my aura. Lin Yuan's aura began to converge. At his life level, even a slight leak could influence his surroundings, even converting everything into his own domain. Moreover, the mortal realm's space subtly restricted Lin Yuan, making him feel as though he were a beached whale. In fact, it wasn't just Lin Yuan, even the gods, even those who were lower-rank gods, would feel similarly constrained. Why did gods reside in the ocean of light or the dark abyss? Apart from the concern that their unconscious aura leakage would cause alteration to all beings, it was also because the mortal realm would bind them. Conversely, in the ocean of light or the dark abyss, there were no such limitations. Supported by numerous spatial layers, even a prime god could act freely. It seems I also need to create my own spatial layers? Lin Yuan decided inwardly. Although he could suppress and contain his aura, now that he was unbeatable, there was no need to continue like before, concealing and suppressing it for fear of attracting the attention of the gods. Creating spatial layers? Lin Yuan looked up. The light god could create the ocean of light, the dark god, the dark abyss. Naturally, he could also create a vast world. Accurately speaking, it wasn't about creating but rather completing and transforming the foundation of the existing spatial layers. To truly create a complete and independent world, one must fully understand the complete rule of time and space. The inner worlds of the main world's 8th layer powerhouses all relied on the main world itself and could not be considered independent worlds. What should I name the world I am going to create? Lin Yuan's face reflected contemplation, but he immediately had an answer. Let's call it the martial realm. Chapter 602 600 Years of Time. Please subscribe. For the martial realm, Lin Yuan doesn't regard it as merely a simple place for cultivation. It is also the world where the future martial Dao cultivators, after establishing their divine kingdoms, will reside. The martial Tao cultivators here refer to those who step into the 8th layer true God through the martial Tao cultivation skill. Compared to martial Tao cultivators, the martial realm is similar to the ocean of light or the dark abyss in relation to the gods. What a pity, this world's suppression of lifespan is too harsh, making it nearly impossible to normally comprehend the essence of external world rules and then reach the 7th layer within 1,000 years. It's as difficult as ascending to the heavens, Lin Yuan thought silently to himself. The martial path evolutionary path, after Lin Yuan localized it, emphasized the excavation of one's own bloodline. Although this might lead to rapid advancement in the early stages, overlooking the understanding of external rules makes it very difficult to create an inner world on one's own. Do the gods hold up their divine kingdoms because they don't want to absorb them into their inner worlds? It's that they cannot absorb them. The divine kingdoms formed by the power of belief cannot be absolutely controlled like the inner worlds of 8th layer evolvers from the main world. Of course, even with such suppression by the world's rules, Lin Yuan still left behind in the martial Tao cultivation skill a method to comprehend external world rules and thereby open up an inner world without relying on faith. Even if this method was never going to be usable by future martial Tao cultivators of this world, Lin Yuan still left it behind. However, the advantages of the bloodline cultivation path are quite clear. By leveraging the power of bloodlines, there are almost no bottlenecks in the early stages of cultivation. Lin Yuan pondered quietly in his heart. Every time he traversed a new world, Lin Yuan would try to extract the essence of the world's cultivation system and then attempt to integrate it into his own martial path evolutionary path. Also, the construction of this world's divine realms is much more stable than the inner worlds of normal 8th and 9th rank powerhouses. Lin Yuan closed his eyes, and within the inner worlds of his 2 primordial spirits, countless divine kingdoms of the gods were rapidly analyzed, especially the divine kingdoms of the prime gods, which were far more complex than those of myriad heavy realm powerhouses of the 9th rank. If Lin Yuan were not an exception, having opened up an inner universe with 120 million spatial layers, he would dominate over a 9th layer prime god. As just a myriad heavy realm, it is estimated that he would struggle to get the better of those prime gods. Even if one could win, it would not be possible to kill them completely, as long as the prime gods hid inside their divine kingdoms. Relying solely on the power of a myriad heavy realm would most likely not be enough. Lin Yuan could try to cut off the gods' connection to human faith, but the effects would be too slow. The prime gods have harvested human faith for countless years, accruing enough faith to let them linger on for hundreds of thousands or even millions of years. The structure of the divine kingdom. Lin Yuan carefully examined the details of the divine kingdoms of the 24 prime gods. Your against heaven's understanding is exceptional, observing a vast number of special world constructions, continuing to elevate your understanding of the world itself. Your against heaven's understanding is exceptional, observing a vast number of special world constructions, continuing to elevate your understanding of the world itself. Your against heaven's understanding is exceptional, observing a vast number of special world constructions, continuing to elevate your understanding of the world itself. For a moment, a surge of comprehension flooded his mind, and Lin Yuan subconsciously adjusted the subtle structures of his inner world. My 9th stage martial Tao chapter, aside from creating more spatial layers, also made delicate changes to the inner world itself. Lin Yuan's eyes sparkled. All along, he had hesitated and hadn't systematically perfected the 9th stage martial Tao chapter. Because the path that Lin Yuan traversed in the 9th stage of martial Tao was completely unreplicable. Could those martial path evolvers in the main world comprehend the divine lattice? And perceive the essence of rules contained within it? Without Lin Yuan's against heaven's understanding, even if the divine lattice were put right in front of them, they would still gain nothing. The gods of this world, despite possessing divine lattices for an incredibly long time, did not perceive the rules corresponding to the divine lattices as directly as Lin Yuan did. Besides, the divine lattice is a special product of this world. The main world doesn't even have the concept of a divine lattice, so the martial path evolvers couldn't possibly follow the path Lin Yuan has taken. Consequently, if it couldn't be widely adapted, even if Lin Yuan forcibly opened up the 9th rank chapter, it wouldn't stand out in any way. But now, by comprehending a large number of divine kingdoms of gods and prime gods, Lin Yuan keenly sees the key to opening up the 9th stage martial Tao chapter. No matter for the 8th rank, 9th rank, or even 10th and tier 11, the inner world is the foundation, the source of one's strength. The construction of the inner world, after continuous refinement by many evolutionary scholars of human civilization in the main world, has reached a limit. It's similar to the shackles of a several million li radius that are difficult to improve by even a hair's breadth. But the divine kingdoms of the gods of this world have shown Lin Yuan a completely different direction from the inner world. In this situation, Lin Yuan, leveraging his against heaven's understanding, has comprehended aspects of the divine kingdoms and then integrated them into the 9th stage martial Tao chapter. If successful, the inner world of 9th rank evolvers in the martial Tao will be more stable and more perfect than the inner worlds of other powerhouses of the same level, and it will also be easier to transform into an inner universe in the future. Lin Yuan's spirits were uplifted. Put simply, this is equivalent to giving every 9th rank evolver a world tree in the future. The world tree, being an 11-star top-notch cosmic rare treasure, has the effect of stabilizing the inner world, and the inner world perfected by Lin Yuan's 9th stage martial Tao chapter is not far behind in terms of stability. The most critical aspect is that this stability originates from the inner world itself, not from external forces, so it can make the final transformation of the inner world slightly easier. Of course, the world tree not only stabilizes the inner world but even so, 9th rank evolvers compared to other powerhouses of the same level also have an innate advantage. Chapter 603 Over 600 Years, Subscription Request, _2 Similar to those special life forms, compared to normal beings of the same level. This is a gap derived from depth. There's no helping it with the same attack, your inner world is about to collapse, teetering on the brink. Yet the inner world of a 9th stage martial Tao evolver merely shook briefly before returning to normal. Divine lattice, world structure, and bloodline evolution path are the 3 major gains from this traversal, Lin Yuan thought to himself. There's no need to discuss the importance of the first 2. As for the bloodline evolution path, although it has many drawbacks, it also depends on the specific circumstances. In the main world, countless citizens have too low a comprehension, dull to the rule fluctuations of the outside world, which makes the bloodline evolution path quite suitable. Of course, the prerequisite is that there must be sufficiently strong bloodlines within the body. But nonetheless, it's still a path, much stronger than spending a lifetime unable to become an evolver. Perhaps the bloodline evolution path can also be integrated into martial Tao? Similar to how body cultivation was integrated before? Lin Yuan pondered in his heart. The bloodline evolution path is not a specific evolution path. It's more like a method to use the power of one's own bloodline to enhance strength. In the main world, there are many bloodline evolution families, but their excavation of bloodlines is not as perfected as in this world. After all, in the main world's human civilization, the bloodline evolution path is just a niche, with its upper limits easily capped. To become a true powerhouse, one still needs to follow the understanding of rules path. Take it slow. There's still plenty of time, with most of the stay remaining. Lin Yuan gathered his thoughts and looked down below. Longshan Ling had arrived. Outside the Longshan Great Hall, many members of the Longshan family were still patiently waiting. They could feel that the great Longshan patriarch, Longshan Yuan, was still not dead, alive and well. Just then, a figure appeared silently before the Great Hall. Patriarch! Patriarch, you've returned? Longshan Ling and a few close subordinates were the first to react, quickly greeting him respectfully. Lin Yuan glanced at the many excited faces of the Longshan family members. Patriarch, about the matter in the sky. Longshan Ling mustered the courage to ask carefully. I did it, Lin Yuan answered directly, as there was no longer any need to hide. He was already invincible in the world. Why bother concealing and being low-key? Is it really? With Lin Yuan's personal admission, Longshan Ling and the other members of the Longshan family were stunned. Even though they had speculated about this possibility, when it was actually confirmed, they still found it incredible. Is the patriarch this powerful? There's one more thing. Lin Yuan's mind moved, and a figure was teleported out. It was the Pope of the Rank Church. To be precise, it was this Pope's divine persona located in the Ocean of Light. This time, as Lin Yuan slaughtered the gods, this subordinate deity was the only one left alive. As for the reason, naturally, it was because Lin Yuan had been in good relations with him over the years. Moreover, the rank Pope had only the strength of a lower-rank god. With the death of the main god of rank as a subordinate deity, his power plummeted, probably barely reaching the threshold of a true god. And as a subordinate deity, his power was fixed, with no chance of further enhancement. Actually, if not for Lin Yuan intentionally saving him, at the moment of the main god of rank's death, the rank Pope should have been annihilated by backlash already. Longshan Patriarch. The rank Pope looked at Lin Yuan with a complex gaze. He had witnessed the complete scene of Lin Yuan slaughtering the gods in the Ocean of Light. At this moment, surprisingly, the rank Pope felt no fear whatsoever. Because fear was meaningless, if Lin Yuan wanted him dead, the rank Pope had no hope of survival. You can leave now, Lin Yuan stated, with no intention of killing the rank Pope. A mere subordinate divine spirit had no allure for Lin Yuan, nor would it pose any threat to the Longshan family in the future. Thank you, Longshan Patriarch, for sparing my life. The rank Pope exhaled deeply, mysteriously feeling sentimental. Under the twilight of the gods, all deities perished, even the strongest prime god had died. Who would have thought that he, as the weakest subordinate divine spirit, would actually survive? The strongest had died. The weakest still lived. The rank Pope had complex thoughts. Longshan Patriarch. The rank Pope silently recited in his heart, knowing that his survival was solely due to the Longshan Patriarch's mercy. In the future, it will be the era of the Longshan Patriarch, the rank Pope thought as he left Longshan Ling, a new thought suddenly emerging in his mind. Since the prime god of light opened the Ocean of Light, the era of the gods officially began. Even the powerful gods like the prime god of light and dark god dared not place their divine names before the era. But from now on, the name of the Longshan Patriarch will completely dominate the era. Even if 100,000 or 1,000,000,000 years pass, the later beings and gods will still fear the reputation of the Longshan Patriarch. Outside the Longshan Great Hall, Lin Yuan looked towards Longshan Ling and the others. Next, I will leave the human realm, Lin Yuan said. Leave the human realm. Longshan Ling and other important members of the Longshan family glanced at each other, now standing before Lin Yuan, all feeling a certain pressure from the essence of life. Patriarch, where do you plan to go? The Ocean of Light, or the Dark Abyss? Longshan Ling asked softly. I will go to the martial realm, Lin Yuan said with a faint smile. The martial realm? Many members of the Longshan family looked puzzled, hearing about this place for the first time. Where is the martial realm? Longshan Ling asked cautiously. Over there, Lin Yuan raised his right hand, slicing through the space, and an intact layer of space emerged. Lin Yuan stepped into it with Longshan Ling and many members of the Longshan family watching in awe, as he began to calm the spatial turbulence. Where Lin Yuan stood, everything stabilized, the energy became gentle, and space became steady, accompanied by a thick ground and sky. Rumble, rumble. A world far surpassing the Ocean of Light and the Dark Abyss was opened, its impact so significant that it even began to reflect in the human world. Who is that? Someone is opening a new world, just like the original Prime God of Light and Dark God opened the Ocean of Light and Dark Abyss. This person must be the one who ended the era of the gods, now creating a world, likely as his own dwelling. In the human realm, ancient demigods had not yet recovered from the fall of the gods, when they witnessed such a shocking sight. After over 4 hours, Lin Yuan finally stabilized this layer of space, nodding in satisfaction. The foundation is almost laid down, for now, this will do. Within his own new world, Lin Yuan finally felt much more comfortable. Under the influence of numerous spatial layers, he felt a long-missed sense of freedom. I should also inform the beings. Lin Yuan glanced at the vast human realm, directly manifesting a towering presence. From today, the martial realm has been created. Any who reach godhood through martial Tao cultivation skill may enter the martial realm. Having declared to the human realm, Lin Yuan did not care how much disturbance it caused, and returned once more to the martial realm, sitting at its very center. Finally, I can quietly cultivate and understand the Tao again, Lin Yuan said. Lin Yuan took out many divine lattices. 24 true God forms, 3,063 upper-rank God divine lattices, 29,642 middle-rank God divine lattices, 123,242 lower-rank God divine lattices. Lin Yuan felt joy wash over him just by looking at the pile of divine lattices, feeling many spiritual insights surge forth, now beginning to earnestly understand them. I wonder how much strength these divine lattices will add to me, Lin Yuan thought, relying on the divine lattices of those demigods in the human realm to open up to 120 million spatial layers. What about the true divine nature? And the true God form? Let's start understanding. Lin Yuan casually picked up a divine lattice, this one containing the property of space, the key to the higher essence of space in this universe. Just like that, time swiftly passed. 600 years had gone by in the blink of an eye. Chapter 604 Cultivation Achievements. Please subscribe. The vast martial realm, since the ascension of the first martial spirit 100 years ago, had gradually buzzed from its once silent and dead state. It was Lin Yuan who had opened up the martial realm, which was far larger in scale than both the ocean of light and the abyss of darkness. Even martial spirits had not explored it to its endpoint. Over the centuries, with each ascending martial spirit, 3 areas gradually emerged in the martial realm. One area was the convergence point of martial spirits from the Longshan family, primarily centered around Longshan City. Another area was the convergence point for martial spirits outside of the Longshan family, primarily centered around Myriad Phenomena City. As for the third area, that was where the great Longshan patriarch cultivated, occupying the most central part of the martial realm, the land where origin source was most abundant. The spread of the martial Tao cultivation skill and the opening of the martial realm both originated from the Longshan patriarch. Any martial spirit who ascended from the mortal world held immense respect for the Longshan patriarch. This was the peerless powerhouse who ended the era of gods and ushered in the martial Tao epoch. Nowadays, although the ocean of light and abyss of darkness still existed, and new deities were continuously being born, their power was incomparable to that of the martial realm. Name, Longshan Yuan, Lin Yuan. Identity, holder of the Myriad Realms Gate, bound talent, heaven-defying comprehension. Divine skills, blood resurrection. Divine skills, mountain moving. Divine skills, strengthening. Divine skills, elemental body. Current status, consciousness descent. Remaining residency duration, 3 years. Lin Yuan slowly opened his eyes and glanced at the rows of illusory text below him. The time of residency is almost at its limit. Lin Yuan looked forward. Everything that was happening in the vast martial realm, he saw in its entirety. As the opener of this world, there was nothing in the martial realm that could hide from him, and it was almost like a second inner world. Originally, when I slew the gods, causing an overflow of worship in the mortal sphere, combined with several instances of popularizing martial Tao cultivation, it merely took 500 years to birth the first martial spirit. Lin Yuan thought. The martial spirit corresponded to the 8th stage of martial arts, although there were notable differences between the two. The advantage of a martial spirit lay in leveraging bloodline power, thus the cultivation speed before the 7th rank was extremely fast. As long as the limit of bloodline was high enough, there were hardly any bottlenecks. However, after reaching the 7th rank and igniting the divine fire, they should, in theory, lurk for long years, secretly gathering worship. However, with the fall of the gods, there was no need to be so secretive. Moreover, with Lin Yuan's presence, martial Tao practitioners were confident. After the first martial spirit entered the martial realm, a large number of other martial spirits were quickly born. In just 100 years, the number of martial spirits in the martial realm had surpassed 1,000. Out of 1,000 martial spirits, there are less than 100 from the Longshan family? Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. He held a definite preference for the Longshan family. His two primordial spirits often returned to the mortal realm to clarify doubts for the martial prodigies of the Longshan family. However, unfortunately, the prodigies of the Longshan family were not competitive compared to other talents from different places in the mortal realm. This was quite normal after all. Even with Lin Yuan present, the Longshan family was still just one family with limited members, naturally far fewer in number compared to the multitude of mortals. However, even if the Longshan family had only a few dozen martial spirits, they still held an absolute dominant position in the martial realm. The martial spirits outside of the Longshan family dared not offend the martial spirits of the Longshan family at all. And all of this was naturally because of Lin Yuan, the Longshan patriarch. Hundreds of years ago, a young member of the Longshan family asked me to suppress the martial spirits outside the family, to oppress the martial prodigies of the mortal world at the source of worship. Lin Yuan's gaze was calm. Naturally, he had not agreed to this request. Lin Yuan's goal had always been set on better spreading martial Tao. As for the rise and fall of the Longshan family itself, he didn't care much as long as martial Tao cultivation continued to spread in this world. It met expectations. As for promoting the Longshan family's dominance at the expense of limiting the development of martial Tao cultivation, Lin Yuan would naturally not do so. He was even gradually letting go of handling the Longshan family. He had not had the primordial spirits return to the mortal Longshan Ling for decades. Their lifespan must be reaching its limit. Lin Yuan looked down, observing everything in the mortal realm. With Lin Yuan's help, the Longshan Fang couple's bodies had reached the maximum perfection allowed by this world. That is the level of a 6th-rank legendary knight and directly possesses 1,000 years of life. However, after 1,000 years, if they still haven't ignited the divine fire, they still have to face death. This death does not refer to physical decline, but the degeneration of the soul and spirit will. With Lin Yuan's strength, as long as he maintained the nourishment of his inner world, the Longshan Fang couple could probably live a few thousand more years. But that's only if the nourishment doesn't stop. However, Lin Yuan was ultimately going to return to the main world. Once he left, the Longshan Fang couple would lose their nourishment, and their souls and spirits would quickly wither. To ignite the divine fire, Lin Yuan's gaze was profound. In this world, igniting the divine fire was crucial, marking the boundary between mortals and demigods. To ignite the divine fire, one must rely on their unmatched will and spirit. External forces cannot play any part in this, similar to the heart demon tribulation from the 7th rank to the 8th layer in the main world. Although there were over 100,000 martial Tao demigods in the past 600 years, that was based on what population base? On average, probably not even one martial Tao demigod would emerge from 1,000,000,000,000 people. Chapter 605 Cultivation Achievements. Please subscribe. _2 Longshan Yuan's parents were just ordinary people and had not experienced any adversity. Since Lin Yuan's rise, each day had been comfortable, with almost zero chance of igniting the divine fire. Without reaching the Supreme Being, one eventually has to face the limits of lifespan, Lin Yuan realized within his heart. The supreme immortal kings of the spirit realm, the gods of this world, seemed eternally long-lived, but it was only eternity in their immortal and divine bodies. Weak beings, in the face of eternal time, have their minds gradually twisted and decayed, their cognition, their understanding of all things, is influenced by time. The same event might be viewed differently by a being who has lived 10,000 years compared to one who has lived only 100 years. The supreme immortal kings and the gods just haven't lived long enough. Live another 100 million or 1,000,000,000 years, and they may go insane, even contemplating suicide. The spirit will cannot withstand the test of time. Only the supreme beings, the ultimate existence on a certain evolutionary path, 12th rank life, with eternal and indestructible spirit will, are truly eternal. Of course, even supreme beings will die, but definitely not due to age. Having the door to the myriad realms and many means to protect my life, I could almost say I won't die unless it is by my own actions, but unless I become a supreme being, there will still come a day when I die, and no one will be able to save me. Lin Yuan thought, the supreme beings of the main world also have loved ones, parents, and siblings, but unless one becomes a supreme being, there will come a day to die of old age. Those who fully understand the rule of time can use it to control the flow of time around their bodies, achieving an alternative eternity. Essentially, it's about slowing down the time influence on their spirit will. A millennium in the external world may pass, while only a day goes by for the individual. The spirit will experiences just that one day. Now, my strength. Lin Yuan closed his eyes, his consciousness descended into his inner world. A vast inner world measuring 1.995 billion square miles, the mysterious gourd containing 7 types of colored liquids. Each type could amplify Lin Yuan's physical body and inner world by 3.33 times. Having completely absorbed the first 6 types of liquid, the final amplification would reach 1.998 billion square miles. And an inner world of 1.995 billion square miles meant that Lin Yuan's absorption of the 6th type, the blue liquid, was nearing perfection, and he was about to start touching the last purple liquid. Maybe reaching the 10th rank is necessary to fully absorb the purple liquid? Lin Yuan speculated quietly. The amplification of the inner world required consideration of both physical and soul strength. The strength here was fundamental strength. Every time Lin Yuan traversed, he would wait until he had recovered to his peak before summoning the mysterious gourd, firstly because he wanted to ensure he had enough power to protect himself. Secondly, if his strength was too low, even with the high-level blood rebirth, his physical soul might not be able to bear such a vast inner world. Spatial layers. Lin Yuan's gaze shifted, looking deeper into the spatial layers of his inner world. Lin Yuan had an early inkling of the size of his inner world, and he knew the amplification each colored liquid would bring, having deduced the final size of his inner world before this traversal began. But the spatial layers, that was a pleasant surprise. The divine lattice of this world, in terms of opening up spatial layers, absolutely exceeded Lin Yuan's expectations. In Lin Yuan's expectations, if he could open up 10 million layers of space during this traversal, reaching the 9th rank myriad heavy realm, he would have perfectly achieved his goal. But 10 million layers of space? 600 years ago, once Lin Yuan penetrated the essence of space from the demigod lattice, his inner world had already reached 120 million layers. Over the next 600 years, Lin Yuan studied various true divine natures and prime divine forms with spatial properties, and in terms of opening spatial layers, he reached 23,310,000,000 layers. Lin Yuan's gaze penetrated multiple spatial layers, and the thickness and substance of his inner world had reached an unimaginable extent. In the main world, when countless 9th rank strong beings treated the 10 million spatial layers as the peak of the 9th rank, Lin Yuan had already opened up to 331 billion spatial layers? In terms of the number of spatial layers, it was 233. 1 times that of the normal 10 million layers at 9th rank, but in terms of actual power, was it not tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of times more? This traversal, the gains were truly immense. Lin Yuan couldn't help but marvel inside too. 331 billion spatial layers. This was a number previously thought unreachable by all 9th rank lives since the birth of the main world prime universe. Lin Yuan dared not claim that the spatial layers he had opened were unmatched in the main world, but being unmatched in history was undeniable. This ancient did not just refer to human civilization, the starry sky races, including those peak clans and unique special beings, could not possess this number of spatial layers at 9th rank. I don't know what my inner world will look like when it transforms into an inner universe in the future. Lin Yuan looked forward with anticipation. The transformation of an inner world into an inner universe represented the utmost sublimation, breaking all shackles and limitations. At that time, the inner universe would not be confined to a size of 10 million square miles, and the spatial layers would naturally evolve into something more profound and vast. As for how much it would transcend, that depended on the original size and depth of the inner world. Hunyi, the strongest 9th rank life from the Tianyu clan, had opened more than 30 million layers in his inner world. Was he just doing this for fun? With the time it took to open 30 million layers, one could have likely stepped into the 10th rank by now, and the increase in combat power would definitely far surpass going from 10 million to 30 million spatial layers. Other clans' 9th rank strong beings, if they had spare capacity, would always try to open as many spatial layers as possible at 9th rank. 10 million layers was merely their minimum threshold. Why open so many spatial layers at 9th rank? It was to make the transformation of the inner world into an inner universe a sublime breaking of all shackles. 9th Stage Martial Tao Chapter. Lin Yuan shifted his focus from the inner world to scrutinize the perfected 9th Stage Martial Tao Chapter. Compared to the previous 7th rank chapter and 8th rank part, the 9th rank chapter was crucial in adjusting the structure of the inner world, making it more stable and powerful. 4 9th rank strong beings of the same inner world size, same spatial layers, and similar foundations, those who follow the 9th rank martial Tao would definitely have an advantage. Moreover, according to the bloodline cultivation pathways of this world, Lin Yuan had specifically created a bloodline purification and cultivation method for the martial arts evolution system. While the martial arts evolutionaries were comprehending the Great Tao rules, they could also spend time exploring the potential of their own bloodlines. As long as the bloodline's limit was high enough, the pace of strength enhancement would certainly far exceed the speed of comprehending Great Tao rules. Of course, this cultivation method was only suitable for those citizens with high-ranking, extremely rich bloodlines, and the upper limit was level 7. Because the main world valued human rights and could not gather faith, relying on this cultivation method would not allow one to independently open a divine kingdom, hence they could not step into the 8th level. In Lin Yuan's conception, those martial arts evolutionaries with high-ranking bloodlines could fully explore their blood's limit to rapidly advance through the 5th, 6th, and 7th rank, then recomprehend the Great Tao rules with a high perspective. The bloodline evolutionary path is ultimately not the Great Tao. Lin Yuan slightly shook his head. The 9 supreme beings of human civilization, nor the supreme beings of other peak clans, none had reached the ultimate levels solely with their potent bloodlines. The Star Alliance, composed entirely of special beings whose top powerhouses had noble bloodlines, but those who managed to step into the 12th rank did so not on account of their bloodlines. In some ways, bloodlines were actually a kind of shackle on the path to the peak. Having perfected the 9th stage martial Tao chapter and also added a branch to the martial path evolutionary path, overall enhanced the foundation and strength of the martial arts evolutionaries. Lin Yuan nodded slightly, satisfied in his mind. He then raised his right hand, his thoughts subtly moving. The speed of time on his skin began to twist, either slowing down or pausing, mismatching the main flow of time. The rule of time. Lin Yuan looked lively, having spent a significant amount of effort in comprehending the rule of time over the past 600 years. Chapter 606 Return. Shuttle ends. Please subscribe. The rule of time is a pillar of the world's constitution and the highest level among all pillar rules. To comprehend life rules, space rules, and other pillar rules, one only needs to reach the 6th or 7th rank. But the rule of time? Unless one becomes a multi-spatial life at 9th rank, one can't even feel the oscillations of the rule of time, let alone comprehend it. Even Lin Yuan, who possessed against heaven's understanding, did not choose to forcibly comprehend the rule of time at 8th layer, as the efficiency would be too low, and thus not worthwhile. 2,173 kinds of time rule models. By now I have thoroughly comprehended 851, Lin Yuan thought to himself, knowing well that a normal 9th rank powerhouse would not spend too much effort comprehending the rule of time, often not even entering the threshold within the 9 myriad heavy realm. 10th rank powerhouses have a deeper comprehension of the rule of time, but are only between comprehending 200 to 500 time rule models. As for 851 time rule models, that's something only an extremely powerful and special 10th rank powerhouse could achieve, or perhaps even the domain of an 11th rank powerhouse. To fully comprehend the rule of time, Only an 11th rank peak powerhouse, preparing to try to strike at the Supreme Being's level, could reach that level. One of the prerequisites for striking at the Supreme Being realm is to thoroughly comprehend the rule of time, then merge it with space rules, take control of space-time, and make the ultimate leap. During this process, spreading one's own evolution path, the more beings that practice it, the greater the momentum becomes for the ultimate leap. Regrettably, there are too few true God forms and main godly cores that contain the attribute of time. Only the godly cores of the God of Divination and the Prime God of Light possess the time attribute, and there is only one true divine nature that has it. Lin Yuan sighed inwardly. If there were more divine lattices containing the time attribute, he was confident in comprehending 1,000 time models. Being able to comprehend 1,000 time rule models at the 9th rank, although not unprecedented like opening up more than 2,300,000,000 spatial layers, would certainly be considered earth-shatteringly against heaven's will. Generally, only those unique and special beings with a talent for time could hope to achieve this. Time slowed down. With a slight intention from Lin Yuan, the flow of time at his Boda's surface began to slow, rapidly decelerating, with a day passing in the outside world equating to only an hour for Lin Yuan, a time flow speed of 12:1. This is also the maximum limit of time flow speed Lin Yuan can currently manipulate, mainly because his life level is too profound, and the price of slowing down his own time flow is too terrifying. If it were an ordinary 9th rank life, Lin Yuan could easily make their own time flow speed reach 1 to 1,000 compared to the outside world. In the river of time, the energy needed to slow down a whale far exceeds the energy needed to slow down a small fish. After slowing down time, even the perception of the great Tao rules becomes blurred. Lin Yuan is currently experiencing a time flow speed of only 1 to 12 compared to the outside world. Even so, the clarity of his perception of the great Tao rules has plummeted. One can infer that in an environment where the time flow speed reaches several thousand to tens of thousands to 1, it would be nearly impossible to comprehend the great Tao rules of the outside world. No wonder those 9th rank and 10th rank powerhouses are reluctant to use time treasures such as the time chamber for cultivation, Lin Yuan mused thoughtfully. The supreme beings of the main world have the power to slow down the time flow speed of a certain area and even can concoct treasures such as secret treasures. However, in such an environment where the time flow speed is slowed down, it doesn't really help one's own cultivation, and the time spent is actual lifespan. Just because the time flow speed of a certain area is different, it leads to a fuzziness in the perception of the great Tao rules because the great Tao rules themselves will naturally fluctuate with the main time flow speed. But by utilizing the door to the myriad realms to traverse through dimensions, this dimensional realm where I'm situated has such a time flow speed, and even if it differs from the main world's time flow speed, it doesn't affect the comprehension of the great Tao rules. Lin Yuan realized another benefit of crossing dimensions through the door to the myriad realms. 600 years passed, and apart from the rule of time, Lin Yuan also completely comprehended the essences of other rules, such as the life rule. This time, with the help of the divine lattices of gods and true god forms, it was undoubtedly a tremendous help to Lin Yuan, at least saving a lot of time. Without these true god forms, even if Lin Yuan could still reach his current height, the time required would have been much longer. Not utilizing the key-like effects of divine lattices, Lin Yuan's efficiency would definitely be much lower. Time passed. 2 years went by. The Longshan Fong couple gradually grew old and died, reaching the limit of lifespan in this world. Unless one ignited the divine fire and changed the essence of life, natural death was inevitable. This time, Lin Yuan did not use the power of the world within him to delay his parents' death, because there was no point. A year later upon his return, the Longshan Fong couple would still be dead. Whether they lived a year longer or less made no significant difference. And as the Longshan Fong couple faced death, they had no fear, having birthed a son who opened a new epoch, a matter of immense honor. Human world. Ruins of Longshan City. In front of the graveyard of the Longshan family, Lin Yuan's figure appeared, this time to the human world. It was not his two primordial spirits, but his true body itself. Lin Yuan stood in front of his parents' tombstones, his expression calm, showing neither joy nor sorrow, just standing there silently. Around the graveyard, important members of the Longshan family intermittently came and went. After all, the Longshan Fong couple were the parents of Longshan Yuan, holding an unshakable status within the Longshan family. Their death was significant enough that even the martial Tao true gods of the martial realm would descend their godly force incarnations to pay a visit. Chapter 607 Return, End of Time Travel, Subscription Request, _2 No matter who it was, no one saw Lin Yuan standing in front of the tombstone, as if they were not in the same spatial layer. Lin Yuan gazed at the cemetery. Although he was not the true Longshan Yuan, after so many years together, he still felt some emotion. You have left, and a year later, it will be my time to leave as well, Lin Yuan murmured, as a year later would mark the limit of his stay during this travel. Unless Lin Yuan was willing to expend another 10 strands of world-breaking origin force to descend into this world, it seemed there would be no possibility of coming back again. It's time to prepare for the last arrangements. Lin Yuan stood in front of the Longshan Fong couple's tombstone for a long while before he finally vanished silently. Martial Realm. Longshan City. Although the Longshan family in the martial realm had less than 100 martial Tao true gods, the construction of Longshan City was extraordinarily luxurious, far surpassing that of another city, Myriad Phenomena City. The first member of the Longshan family to become a martial Tao true god was named Longshan Quan. As for Longshan Ling and his subordinates from the past, none had ignited the divine fire to this day. Although they were not yet dead from old age, they would not live many more years, currently spending their twilight years peacefully on earth. The numerous martial Tao true gods of the Longshan family in the martial realm were all led by Longshan Quan. After all, as the first deity from their family, his influence was profound. Longshan Great Hall. Longshan Quan and a few other martial Tao true gods of the Longshan family gathered for an exchange. The ancestor is so benevolent to have given outsiders so many opportunities, Longshan Quan expressed discontent. Over the years, his disdain for the martial spirits of Myriad Phenomena City had only grown. The martial realm, opened up by the forebears of their Longshan family, should have remained their family's private domain, yet it ended up housing a horde of outsiders like invasive species. The other martial Tao true gods also nodded continuously. They had long regarded the entire martial realm as their backyard. How could those martial Tao true gods from Myriad Phenomena City deserve to live in the same place as them? Suddenly, just then, a figure appeared silently at one side. Ancestor. Longshan Ancestor. Upon seeing this, Longshan Quan and the other true gods of the Longshan family immediately called out respectfully. Ancestor, you have finally agreed to see us, Longshan Quan said excitedly. Since ascending to the martial realm 100 years ago, he had seen Lin Yuan only once, and despite several attempts to visit afterwards, he had received little response. Lin Yuan, with a serene gaze, looked towards the Longshan Great Hall, towards the entire Longshan City, and spoke indifferently, the Longshan family thrived because of me. I do not wish for it to decline because of me. Ancestor, how could the Longshan family possibly decline because of you? Your strength is historically unparalleled, having opened up the martial realm and welcomed martial Tao true gods. The reverence the mortal beings have for you even surpasses the gods, Longshan Quan said somewhat puzzled. As long as Lin Yuan was around, the status of the Longshan family was undisputed. This had already become an ironclad rule. But I too will leave, Lin Yuan continued. Leave? Longshan Quan looked somewhat stunned. Ancestor, where are you going and when will you come back? The other martial Tao true gods looked at each other, their expressions somewhat perplexed. I won't be coming back, Lin Yuan said softly. Not coming back? Longshan Quan was greatly alarmed. Lin Yuan was as significant to the Longshan family as the sky itself, and also to this world. If Lin Yuan were to suddenly disappear, Longshan Quan dared not imagine the commotion it would cause. The blow it would deal to the Longshan family would be fatal. Yes, not coming back, Lin Yuan looked at the few martial Tao true gods of the Longshan family. Therefore, in the future, the Longshan family must not be too harsh towards foreign true gods. Although Lin Yuan always cared only about the spread of martial Tao cultivation skill, and never particularly cared about the rise and fall of the Longshan family, he still felt compelled to offer a few reminders before leaving. Ancestor? Longshan Quan's face turned ashen, desperately pleading as he looked at Lin Yuan. He realized that what Lin Yuan was saying might indeed be true, and that the Longshan family might soon lose its strongest support. Since I am leaving, I will also leave behind something. Lin Yuan stretched out his right hand, and 3 crystals emitting a profound aura hovered. What is this? Longshan Quan was stunned, then his body began to tremble uncontrollably. True God form. This was the true God form. Since Lin Yuan had slain 24 prime gods, the 24 true God forms had not appeared again. But even with a longing for the true God form, no one dared to search for them. Needless to say, all 24 true God forms were in the hands of the leader of the Longshan family. These 3 true God forms, I will leave with the Longshan family until you reach the peak of upper-rank gods, then you may attempt to refine them. Lin Yuan said. The 24 true God forms had all been comprehended by Lin Yuan, and keeping them further held no significance. Moreover, the true God form is the essential key to the rules of this world, and once it leaves this world, it will automatically collapse and, at the same time, will recondense into a new true God form somewhere within the world. Before returning to the main world, Lin Yuan naturally had to arrange the whereabouts of the true God form. With these 3 divine lattices, even if I leave, the Longshan family can thrive gloriously for 1,000,000 or even more years. Lin Yuan looked at an excited Longshan Quan. With these 3 true God forms, the future of the Longshan family is equivalent to having 3 true God-level powerhouses presiding over it. This kind of foundation, unless another Lin Yuan comes along, thinking about shaking the foundation of the Longshan family is absolutely difficult. As long as the Longshan family does not doom themselves and remains cautious and humble hereafter, their glory will not diminish much. Thank you, Ancestor. Thank you, Ancestor. Longshan Quan immediately knelt down, and the other martial Tao true gods did the same. As for the remaining 21 true God forms, I will release one every once in a while for other martial Tao true gods to vie for. These divine lattices, the Longshan family need not interfere. Lin Yuan continued. He did not plan to place all 24 true God forms with the Longshan family, as this would have made their status unassailable, forming a monopolistic situation in this world for martial Tao cultivators. And this is not conducive to the development of martial Tao. To truly advance martial Tao, a brilliance of a myriad of schools is necessary. If the Longshan family becomes too powerful, coupled with no restrictions from Lin Yuan, it would inevitably suppress other martial Tao talents outside their family. Yes. Although Longshan Quan and the other martial Tao true gods were somewhat reluctant, since the ancestor had made such a decision, they had no grounds to refuse. Ancestor, Longshan Quan was about to speak, but then realized that he was now alone, only leaving behind 3 true God forms quietly floating there. The ancestor has left. Longshan Quan was momentarily dazed. The ancestor is too kind. The other martial Tao true gods looked at the 3 true God forms with longing but dared not harbor any thoughts of seizing them. Who knew if the ancestor was still observing them in secret? Yes, the ancestor is kind. Longshan Quan sighed. But since the ancestor has already decided, my Longshan family will follow the ancestor's words from now on, restrain our people, and completely give up the claim for the other true God forms. Yes. The several martial Tao true gods of the Longshan family looked at each other and nodded in agreement. In the depths of the multiple spatial layers, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. Everything that needed to be done has been done. Lin Yuan looked downward, his gaze sweeping over the martial realm, ocean of light, dark abyss, and the realm of humans. Now, it's time to return to the origin source. Next to Lin Yuan, 2 figures appeared, precisely the Taiyin primordial spirit and Taiyang divine spirit. At the same time, The bell-shaped origin fine gold also floated in front of him, slowly oscillating with an inexplicable aura radiating from it. The Taiyang divine spirit and Taiyin primordial spirit began to dissolve into the most pure energy, assimilating into the origin fine gold, and Lin Yuan's true physical body did the same. If the true body and the two great divine spirits are too powerful, their dissolution, even if it begins, is extremely slow. 1 year later, as the inner worldly energies of the physical soul finally meld into the origin fine gold for the last time, the door to the myriad realms projection within Lin Yuan's spirit will suddenly begin to burst forth with light. Returning now, Lin Yuan's spirit will surge into the door to the myriad realms, disappearing from this world. Chapter 608 Xilan. Where are the elders? Subscribe please. Xianxia's secret realm. Deep within layers upon layers of spatial layers, two presences were engaged in a chase, one pursuing the other. However, it was quite evident that the pursuing presence was far stronger than the fleeing one. Even as time passed, the fleeing presence was slowly exhausting. Just when the pursuer was about to close in completely, the fleeing party would always manage to slip through the narrow gaps between the many spatial layers. It was akin to a 100-meter giant chasing after an ant, which, by leveraging the terrain, could make the giant return empty-handed to some extent. Of course, the pursuit and escape among 9th-rank powerhouses across multiple spatial layers was much more complex than a chase within a single space. Even within the peculiar conditions of the Xianxia's secret realm, as more time was delayed, the stronger party would occupy more spatial layers, and the fleeing side's options for turning and shifting spaces would become increasingly narrow. Eventually, it was like a bird in a cage, completely locked in. Being caught was just a matter of time. It has been 2.5 years. Xilan seized the chance and in an instant, crossed from one spatial layer to another, once again widening the gap from Hunyi. However, this was only a temporary reprieve, as within less than half an hour, Hunyi had caught up again. I can feel it, more and more spatial layers are being occupied, and the room for me to hide is getting smaller and smaller. Xilan sighed internally. This was the gap brought about by absolute power, where his own open spatial layers were less than 1 million, whereas Hunyi was from the Tianyu clan, one of the strongest 9th-rank beings of the Peak clans. He had opened up over 30 million spatial layers. If it were not for the restrictions within the Xianxia's secret realm, suppressing any instantaneous movement techniques, and the fact that Xilan was actively burning everything, even his spirit will, for a significant increase in power, he would likely have been captured by Hunyi long ago. Even so, Xilan faintly felt that he might not be able to hold on much longer. First, Hunyi was about to completely occupy all nearby spatial layers, and second, there wasn't much of his spirit will left to burn. He'll hold on for another half-year. Xilan steadied himself and glanced at Lin Yuan, who was sitting cross-legged in a corner of his inner world. He had a lot of trust in Lin Yuan. Since the Galactic Star Master had said that as long as he could endure for 3 years, they could wait for the support of an elder, Xilan had never doubted it. I wonder which strong being from human civilization is the elder of the Galactic Star Master? Xilan was somewhat curious. The master of the Galactic Star Master was the Qikuan Star Lord. However, the Qikuan Star Lord was only an invincible 8th-layer being. Even if he had broken through to the 9th rank, he would still be far from capable of providing support for them. Evolvers who had just entered the 9th rank, in the face of a strong 9th rank being like Hunyi from one of the large Peak clans, were nothing more than a one-strike affair. He, Xilan, had managed to persevere until now by burning everything and also due to the secret techniques obtained from the Supreme Evolution Path inheritance from human civilization, as well as the special environment of the Xianxia's secret realm. If it's not the Qikuan Star Lord, perhaps it's one of those 9th-rank beings from human civilization who have opened up over 20 million spatial layers, Xilan pondered internally. This was his only pleasure during the chase. To rescue them from Hunyi's hands, a standard 9-stage million-layer realm human evolver wouldn't suffice. At least those who had opened up 20 million spatial layers were needed to contain Hunyi and buy time for their safe withdrawal. 20 million spatial layers. Xilan felt a slight sense of awe in his heart. The longer he practiced at the 9th rank, the more he realized the difficulty of opening spatial layers. Opening spatial layers was merely the surface. What was more important was the profound understanding of the essence of space. Without sufficient grasp, one couldn't maintain the layers, and even if forcibly created, they would collapse quickly. To be fair, Xilan still held a bit of admiration for beings like Hunyi, who had opened up far beyond 10 million layers, because he knew how challenging it was. At that moment, Hunyi, who was pursuing from behind, transmitted his voice again. Xilan, I know that you're desperately trying to escape, striving to buy time, wanting to protect the treasures you've acquired within the secret realm. In that case, I can promise you that if you hand over the Galactic Star Master, I will let you leave, and all the opportunities and treasures you've obtained within the secret realm can be taken with you. Hunyi continued, You should know what a promise from me, Hunyi, means. Even if we belong to opposing camps, I will adhere to it. Hunyi was growing impatient with the chase, which had gone on for more than 2 years. If it continued, who knows, it might waste another 3 to 5 months. From beginning to end, Hunyi's target had been to kill the Galactic Star Master, or rather, to kill one of the avatars of the Galactic Star Master, to settle some recent grudges from the battlefield. As for Xilan, Hunyi had never truly regarded him. If it were not for being in the Shenhuang's secret realm, with his strength, the chase would not have needed to last this long. Ha ha ha, you Tianyu birds are still trying to drive a wedge between me and the Galactic Star Master? Xilan was completely unmoved. As an evolver from human civilization, Xilan understood his foundations very well. At this moment, the biggest crisis he faced was merely whether this avatar would fall here and whether the secret treasures and opportunities gained from the secret realm could be returned. But to hand over the Galactic Star Master? Aside from the act of betraying human civilization, just considering the latent talent shown by the Galactic Star Master, he, Xilan, wasn't stupid. How could he possibly make such a choice? On the contrary, dying alongside the Galactic Star Master in the Shenhuang's secret realm would only deepen the camaraderie between them. All right then, prepare to leave behind this avatar completely. Hunyi no longer tried to persuade and continued the chase. Over the past 2 years he had transmitted his voice more than once, but every time, Xilan had answered with ridicule. Chapter 609 Xilan. Where are the elders? Subscribe please. _2. The escape methods of the Void Evolution Path are indeed as legendary as they say, Hunyi said with a slightly stern expression, while also speeding up the process of completely occupying the spatial layers. The Void Evolution Path was the path of evolution cultivated by Xilan, and it was also one of the 9 great supreme evolution paths currently mastered by human civilization. The ultimate being of this evolution path was the Void God Ultimate Being, who was one of the 9 supreme beings of human civilization. In terms of combat power and killing ability, the Void God Supreme Being might not match the Xiaqin Supreme Being or the Ancient Power Supreme Being, but in terms of control over the Void, they were the strongest among the 9 supreme beings. Within human civilization, the most practiced evolution paths were those of the 9 supreme beings. Although these 9 great supreme evolution paths all had ultimate beings, the vast majority of human evolvers neither had the desire nor the ability to challenge the ultimate level. In their eyes, the supreme evolution path was mature, nearly perfect, and if one had the qualifications to cultivate it, who would choose any other evolution path? Xilan had a talent for the spatial domain, and with her special body with spatial attributes, she could activate many of the escape techniques from the Void Evolution Path, which is how she had managed to persist so far under Hunyi's persecution. Almost there, Hunyi thought, retracting his thoughts. No matter how exquisite the Void Evolution Path was, it still required space to operate, and now, after 2 or 3 years, with him continuously taking over the spatial layers, Xilan was close to being trapped to death by him. The relentless pursuit by Hunyi, the strongest 9th rank being of the Tianyu clan, also caught the attention of other 9th rank beings in the vicinity. Is that the Tianyu clan's Hunyi? The one called the first 9th rank of this era of the Tianyu clan? Who is he chasing? You don't know? The one being chased is Xilan, the 9th rank evolver from human civilization. But what Hunyi is after is not Xilan, but the Galaxy Master who is traveling with her. The Galaxy Master? The human peerless genius who recently caused the Tianyu clan to lose face on the battlefield? The youngest 9th rank in the history of human civilization? So it seems. Various 9th rank beings watched from afar. Hunyi's pursuit was not being concealed at all, and the bursting spatial fluctuations could be easily detected. The Galaxy Master is being chased. Some of the 9th rank different species with relatively good relations with human civilization were tempted, knowing that if they could save the Galaxy Master now, they would surely gain the favor of this peerless genius of human civilization. Unfortunately, though, it was Hunyi who was chasing the Galaxy Master, and even though some 9th rank different species wanted to please Lin Yuan and human civilization, they didn't have the power to hold Hunyi back. In the cosmic starry skies, human civilization was one of the few peak clans, an absolute behemoth, with enemies as well as follower clans. Apart from the big alliance established by human civilization itself, there were still many clans who did not want to offend human civilization and even sought friendship with it. Haha, Hunyi has been chasing Xilan for over 2 years now, and the Galaxy Master must be hiding in Xylan's inner world. They say Xilan cultivates the void evolution path. Tisk, truly as legendary as they say. Being pursued for more than 2 years, the Galaxy Master is in such a dire state. It's also unclear what the Galaxy Master is holding on for. Xilan must have used some secret technique that affects the true body of the main being. With such a cost, could it be that a special 9th rank from human civilization is coming to their rescue? I haven't heard of any nearby human 9th rank who can come close to Hunyi. The many 9th rank different species, separated by different spatial layers, conversed with keen interest. Regardless of whether it was the one being pursued or the pursuer, both were extremely famous. They were also happy to watch the drama unfold. Needless to say, Hunyi's renown had spread throughout the 9th rank circle, and the Galaxy Master, although only recently advancing to 9th rank, had garnered considerable attention due to the revealed talent as well as the halo of human civilization. On the other side of the Xianxia's secret realm, a human evolver clad in a purple robe was continuously shuttling through the layers of space. His speed was tremendous, and each transition affected more than 40 million spatial layers. This purple-robed evolver, named Duk, had established 39 million spatial layers and was the strongest 9th rank being of this era in human civilization. Just hold on a little longer. Once I get there, I will ensure that Hunyi pays the price. The location Duk was heading towards was where Hunyi was. As the strongest 9th rank of one of the great peak clans, Duk often clashed with Hunyi. The spatial layers created by the former were more numerous than those of the latter, giving him a natural advantage in combat. More than 2 years ago, when he learned that Hunyi was pursuing the Galaxy Master, he rushed over as quickly as possible. Normally, the Xianxia's secret realm suppresses all deliberate spatial movements, forcing even the strongest beings to fly slowly. When Duk received the message, he was a great distance from Hunyi's location. It was almost impossible to arrive within 3 years. But even so, Duk did not hesitate to come. Hunyi, if you dare to kill this incarnation of the Galaxy Master, within the Xianxia's secret realm, your Tianyu clan's 9th rank should also stop living, Duk thought to himself. Usually, special 9th rank beings like them wouldn't deliberately pursue and kill other 9th rank alien races after entering the Xianxia's secret realm, because it's too time-consuming. The Xianxia's secret realm isn't like the outside world. One can only fly slowly, and it's only open for 100 years. Pursuing other 9th rank alien races? Would they really forsake the many opportunities within the secret realm? But Hunyi dared to actively pursue the peerless genius of human civilization. This precedent cannot be set. Duk would rather give up searching for opportunities within the secret realm than not fight back. Deep within the heavy spatial layers, the Madwa traveler was also watching the chase from afar. Hunyi had been pursuing Xilan and the Galaxy Master for over 2 years. After receiving the news, the Madwa traveler also rushed over. The Galaxy Master is really unlucky, thought the Madhua traveler to himself, having already warned the Galaxy Master, who would surely try to avoid Hunyi as much as possible. The environment of the Xianhuang secret realm is unique. Even if Hunyi received the location of the Galaxy Master one moment, by the time he arrived the next, the Galaxy Master would likely have already disappeared. Unless the two happened to meet face to face. The ancient god ancestor really values the Galaxy Master, going so far as to let me use that trump card to block Hunyi and save the Galaxy Master. The Madhua traveler shook his head slightly. As the most outstanding progeny of the ancient god ancestor, the Madhua traveler was deeply cherished by him. Upon entering the Xianhuang secret realm this time, he was even bestowed a life-saving trump card. Once this trump card is activated, even a special 9th rank capable of creating 50 million or 80 million spatial layers would be trapped for a short while. The ancestors said not to use the trump card to directly save the Galaxy Master, but to act only when the Galaxy Master is in the most critical moment, precisely when he is about to be captured by Hunyi. Only then can we gain the Galaxy Master's utmost gratitude. Remembering the instructions of the ancient god ancestor, the Madhua traveler felt they made sense. It's almost time, observed the Madhua traveler for a while longer. Noting that Xylan's struggle to escape was slowing down, his expression immediately became serious, waiting for the critical moment to activate the life-saving trump card. Within the inner world of Xilan, Lin Yuan quietly opened his eyes. "I'm back," said Lin Yuan, his gaze deep as the millennia spent in the world of gods seemed like fleeting illusions flashing by. Whoosh! Sensing Lin Yuan's movement, Xilan immediately projected her consciousness incarnation and appeared not far away. "Brother Xilan," Lin Yuan said with a smile on his face, knowing that Xylan's perseverance was crucial for the perfect completion of this traversal. Otherwise, Lin Yuan would have had to terminate the traversal prematurely or give up the primordial spirit within the Xianhuang secret realm. Whichever option, it would be a significant loss. "Galaxy Master," Xilan said with a faltering breath, but still forcibly perked up. After a brief conversation, Xilan cautiously asked, "Galaxy Master, has your elder come yet?" "Elder?" Lin Yuan glanced at Xilan. Chapter 610 Lin Yuan and Hunyi. Subscribe please. Before Lin Yuan performed his 9th traversal, to give Xilan hope, he casually mentioned that an elder was on their way. It wasn't entirely a fabrication. The significance of elder lay in combating Hunyi. As long as Lin Yuan safely completed the 9th traversal and his strength significantly increased, he himself would be the elder. In Lin Yuan's expectations before the traversal, even without the aid of a divine lattice, traversing through the worlds over 1,000 years could likely cultivate him to the 9-stage million-layer realm. With over 100 million li in size of his inner world, even if there was a gap in developing spatial layers compared to Hunyi, his overall strength could be on par. Not to mention that the actual gains from this traversal far exceeded Lin Yuan's initial expectations. Inner world. Lin Yuan also observed his own inner world. The return of the spirit didn't change the size of the inner world, as it needed to absorb the liquid from the mysterious gourd to recover to nearly 200 million li in diameter. However, the depth, or the spatial layers, was expanding at a terrifying speed. 1 million layers, 10 million layers. Expanding the spatial layers required a profound comprehension of the essence of space. With Lin Yuan's current understanding of the spatial essence, he could restore up to 331 billion layers in a short time. "Let's go out." Lin Yuan looked up, and with his current mastery of the spatial layers, even with the separation by Xylan's inner world, he could easily see the outside. "Go out?" Xilan was somewhat confused. Could it be that Lin Yuan said elder had arrived? But Xilan hadn't sensed any approaching 9th rank powerhouse's aura. Although there were many 9th rank members of different species watching from afar, their revealed aura didn't seem capable of holding off a special 9th rank like Hunyi. The next moment, under Xylan's gaze, Lin Yuan's figure disappeared from the spot. Did the Galaxy Master go out? Seeing this, Xilan was a bit slow to react. In his inner world, without his permission, the Galaxy Master had gone out? One must know. As the opener of the inner world, Xilan was like a creator god within it. He could control all the powers of the inner world. Even for someone as powerful as Hunyi, who had developed over 30 million spatial layers, if he was deeply trapped in Xylan's inner world, without Xylan's consent, the only possibility to get out would be to forcefully shatter the inner world. As for leaving silently, perhaps 11th or 10th rank powerhouses could achieve it, as their understanding of the spatial essence had reached inexplicable levels, enabling them to disregard Xilan, the world's opener. But how did Lin Yuan get out? Xilan couldn't understand and was unable to figure it out, but immediately afterwards, he realized something. That was, the Galaxy Master had gone out, and outside was Hunyi, the strongest 9th rank of the Tianyu clan, pursuing to kill. Without Xilan leading Lin Yuan to escape, the Galaxy Master would probably be captured by Hunyi in an instant. Not good. Xylan's avatar within the inner world dissipated. Outside, Xilan was using various escape methods derived from the void evolution path, sliding through gaps between spatial layers to elude Hunyi as much as he could. At that moment, whoosh! Beside Xilan, Lin Yuan's figure suddenly appeared. Hunyi, who was pursuing, paused slightly, then was overjoyed. If Lin Yuan had continued to hide in Xylan's inner world, he might have extended his survival for a while under his pursuit. But to come out voluntarily? Especially since Lin Yuan, after coming out, wasn't continuing to flee but was standing quietly there. Whoosh! Similarly, Xilan, who had initially fled far away, returned to Lin Yuan's side. Galaxy Master, Xylan's expression was grave. He could keenly sense that the moment they stopped, Hunyi took the opportunity to completely seal off all surrounding spatial layers. That is, Xilan and the Galaxy Master, like turtles in a jar, were completely at Hunyi's mercy. At the same time, the many 9th rank members of different species watching from afar also noticed that the Galaxy Master was making no attempt to escape actively. Has the Galaxy Master given up hope? Doesn't he even want to run? It seems so. Actually, it should have been like this from the beginning. With Hunyi's pursuit, if there were no similarly ranked human evolvers nearby, escape would just be a death sentence, completely a waste of time. Right? If he had detonated his avatar at the start of the pursuit, maybe his second incarnation would be half-formed by now. The multitude of 9th rank members from different species discussed animatedly, still showing no signs of dispersing. Seeing the demise of a supreme talent of human civilization, even if it was just an avatar, was quite a rare event. Human civilization highly valued talents. Most of the time, talents were fiercely protected, even on the battlefields of different races, where high-rank evolvers would pay special attention. But in the Xianhuang's secret realm? The Xianhuang's secret realm has a unique origin, forbidding 10th rank and above powerhouses from entering. Not even supreme beings could peek inside. Here, the talents of human civilization had to face many dangers independently. Like now, the Galaxy Master faced the pursuit of Hunyi. The critical moment is approaching. In the depths of the spatial layers, Mudwa Traveler also grew tense. He raised his right hand, where a vortex resembling a black hole was slowly rotating. This life-saving trump card, created by Mudwa Traveler's ancient god ancestor, contained elements of the rule of time. Mudwa Traveler's ancient god ancestor, immensely ancient, had long mastered the complete rule of time. Even so, to create this life-saving trump card, he had paid a considerable price. Chapter 6:11 Lin Yuan and Hunyi, please subscribe, _to no way. Compared to the reproductive abilities of human civilization, those ancient gods from the depths of the universe mostly come from special life forms. Their talents are terrifyingly strong, but their ability to reproduce is pitifully weak. Some unique special life forms don't even have the ability to reproduce, wandering the vast cosmos without a single kindred soul. Thus, the ancient god ancestor of the Mudwa Traveler valued this descendant extremely and did not hesitate to pay the price to create this life-saving trump card. in the depths of the cosmic starry skies. The true body of the Madhua traveler immediately informed the ancestor of what had happened in the Xianhuang's secret realm. The Galaxy Master has taken the initiative to reveal himself? The ancient god ancestor's massive body sat there, beginning to affect the surrounding space and time. He stroked his chin and said, "When the Galaxy Master is on the brink of life and death, activate the time black hole I gave you. Understand? You must not hesitate at all." The ancient god ancestor cautioned, for if it was too late and the Galaxy Master were killed by Hunyi, then such a long time would have been wasted. If it was too early and the Galaxy Master had not yet despaired, the favor they did would not seem as significant. Understood, ancestor. I am ready at all times. The Madhua traveler nodded, even though he did not know why the ancestor placed such importance on the Galaxy Master, going as far as to offend the Tianyu clan to curry favor with him. But over the long years, the ancestor had moved effortlessly among several peak clans, not as a supreme being but with a vision that allowed him to manage. Even two supreme beings had received funding from the ancestor before they had risen to power. Haha, Galaxy Master, it seems you know your end. Hunyi rapidly sealed off all the spatial layers around them, looking at Lin Yuan, who stood calmly and relaxed, not immediately moving to kill. Within the spatial layers he sealed off, even if a 9th rank from human civilization on the same level as him were to rush over now, it would be pointless. With the spatial layers thoroughly locked down, Hunyi could easily shift Lin Yuan into his own inner world with just a thought. Thus, at this moment, Hunyi was savoring the sight of Lin Yuan. Having pursued him for nearly 3 years, he was certainly feeling a touch irate. He wanted to deeply embarrass the Galaxy Master. Hunyi also knew that the Galaxy Master could blow up this avatar in an instant. It was impossible for him to bring the Galaxy Master back to his clan alive. Galaxy Master, you still haven't blown yourself up. It seems you're quite unsatisfied? Hunyi spoke. He was also aware of the Galaxy Master's talents and qualifications. Stepping into the 10th rank in the future would pose no difficulty, perhaps even one day catching up to himself. But what of it? At least for now, he, Hunyi, could crush the Galaxy Master. Hunyi. Lin Yuan also looked at Hunyi, shaking his head slightly and said, "Right now, you're too weak." Too weak? Hunyi was stunned, then burst into laughter. Looking to vent your frustration before death? Even a 10th rank powerhouse wouldn't call him weak. Being able to open over 30 million spatial layers at the 9th rank was not something just anyone could achieve. I don't even care to speak with you, Lin Yuan sighed. Originally, he had wanted to mock Hunyi after ending the chase, but now, the gap between them was too vast, not even a thought to scorn remained. You're not interested in talking to me? Hunyi scoffed, about to respond. The next moment, Hunyi's expression drastically changed. Because, in the blink of an eye, the spatial layers he occupied were forcefully banished by a nearly brutal force, a trace of fear streaking across Hunyi's face. In less than a breath, he lost all control over the surrounding spatial layers, and all the layers he could sense were occupied by a brand new force, the number of layers captured by this power far surpassing 30 million. You! Hunyi broke into a cold sweat, looking at Lin Yuan with disbelief, the fresh force being that of the Galaxy Master that he considered to be securely in his grasp. Die. Lin Yuan's expression remained tranquil as boundless layers of space crushed down with just a thought. How could you? Fear surged in Hunyi's heart, not hesitating to blow up his avatar. If he did not destroy his avatar now, Hunyi felt that he might actually be captured alive by the Galaxy Master. Then, if this avatar fell into the hands of the Galaxy Master and was brought back to the human civilization territory, and with the help of this avatar, if cursed killing techniques or memory poisons and such were used, he, Hunyi, could very well face complete annihilation. In the Tianyu clan territory, Hunyi's true body opened his eyes, showing an expression of utter disbelief. What happened? How could that Galaxy Master possess such strength? I can feel it, the spatial layers he occupies far exceed 30 million, no, at least 100 million. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible for just the spatial layers to instill such a sense of powerlessness in me, right? Hunyi couldn't believe it, 100 million spatial layers? Throughout the history of the Tianyu clan, none of the ninth-rank beings had ever developed such a number of spatial layers. Not even those unique special beings could open up so many layers. Xianxia's secret realm. Xilan, who was originally in despair, watched as Hunyi was forced by Lin Yuan to expose his avatar, and suddenly felt bewildered. What's going on? What happened? Xilan's mind was a mess. Galaxy Master. Xilan looked towards Lin Yuan standing beside her, subconsciously. Although she didn't know why Hunyi self-destructed, it must be related to the Galaxy Master. The Galaxy Master has taken over all the surrounding spatial layers? Xilan also felt the many layers of space being dominated by Lin Yuan. Although Xilan couldn't determine exactly how many layers were occupied, the pressure she felt at this moment was far greater than when Hunyi was pursuing them. All right. Hunyi is dealt with. Lin Yuan stretched out his right hand, and Hunyi's space bracelet fell into his hand. Dealt with? Xilan felt as though she was dreaming. She had contemplated countless possibilities, such as dying at the hands of Hunyi along with Lin Yuan, or Lin Yuan's elder, suddenly arriving. Or, perhaps a special ninth-rank alien race friendly to human civilization would appear and intervene on their behalf against Hunyi. Or even the sudden emergence of a terrifying native beast from the secret realm to entangle Hunyi. She had run through countless possibilities and speculated about many scenarios. Almost every one of them had crossed her mind. But she had never imagined Lin Yuan forcing Hunyi to self-destruct with a mere gesture. It was too incredible. In the distance, the many ninth-rank alien races who were watching the drama unfold had their eyes bulging with disbelief. Hunyi self-destructed? What's going on? Why would he self-destruct for no reason? Nonsense, it's because of the Galaxy Master. All the surrounding spatial layers have been taken over by the Galaxy Master. The Galaxy Master's strength is far above Hunyi, forcing Hunyi to self-destruct. All the ninth-rank aliens watching the battle were in an uproar, unable to predict that the situation would take such an unexpected turn. Hunyi, with victory within his grasp, was forced to self-destruct, while the Galaxy Master, apparently at an absolute disadvantage, suddenly demonstrated nearly inconceivable strength. Deep in the cosmic starry skies, the real body of the Madwa traveler was somewhat dazed. He had witnessed the unfolding scenario in the Xianxia's secret realm, and precisely because of this, he was so bewildered. What's the situation now? Did you use that time black hole I gave you? The massive ancient god ancestor immediately asked. In his estimation, with the Galaxy Master making an appearance, the worst Hunyi would do was to shame the Galaxy Master for a bit. He wouldn't let the Galaxy Master live much longer. At this moment, it was critical for the Madwa traveler who was hiding nearby to use the time black hole at the critical moment to trap Hunyi and save the Galaxy Master. This was the process envisaged by the ancient god ancestor. Through this incident, not only would the Madwa traveler completely reconcile with the Galaxy Master, but he could also win the favor and goodwill of the Galaxy Master. No, the Madwa traveler was stunned, and after a moment of silence, he responded. No. The ancient god ancestor frowned, slightly annoyed. Why didn't you activate the time black hole? Do you think this life-saving trump card is too precious? Foolish. Such a life-saving trump card. Given time, I can completely create a second or third one. But the Galaxy Master's goodwill, after the Xianxia's secret realm, will you still have this opportunity? The ancient god ancestor looked at the Madwa traveler with a mix of frustration. Ancestor. The Madwa traveler shrank a little and said, I did plan to use it. Then why didn't you use it? The tone of the ancient god ancestor rose as he was about to continue his scolding. Because Hunyi is dead, killed by the Galaxy Master. The Madwa traveler steadied himself and said somewhat aggrievedly, I didn't even have the chance to use it. The Galaxy Master killed Hunyi. The ancient god ancestor fell silent, staring at the Madwa traveler with surprise and suspicion. Chapter 6:12 Inconceivable News. Please subscribe. Ancestor, I speak the truth. The Madhwa traveler immediately added upon seeing the expression of the ancient god ancestor, "I saw it with my own eyes." The Madhwa traveler noticed the skepticism in his own ancestor. In fact, not to mention the ancestor, even he himself, a party to the events, instinctively disbelieved when he saw Xianxia blow himself up in front of the Galaxy Master. He thought that Xianxia's death was caused by other reasons. Could it be that some supreme being intervened in secret, or had the Galaxy Master employed some kind of ultimate weapon? Only after eliminating all other possibilities did he reluctantly believe it was the Galaxy Master who killed Xianxia. Indeed, Xianxia died by his own self-destruction, but if not for the Galaxy Master, Xianxia would not have self-destructed. Therefore, to say the Galaxy Master killed Xianxia is not inaccurate. And this act of Xianxia further illustrates how terrifying the Galaxy Master is. Xianxia was the strongest 9th rank life of this generation in the Tianyu clan. He didn't even dare to engage in combat and chose self-destruction directly, which illustrates what? It shows that he felt he could be completely suppressed at any moment, and in order not to let this avatar fall into the hands of human civilization, he decisively chose to self-destruct. In a battle between two powerful entities, the simplest outcome is defeat, the next is killing, but the most difficult is suppression. Suppression means capturing alive, leaving the opponent with absolutely no capability to resist, not even able to commit suicide. Such a scenario generally does not occur among combatants of the same tier. Even when Xianxia was previously chasing Shilon, he did not aim to suppress but to kill the avatar to vent his anger. "I understand now." The ancient god ancestor nodded. Just in the last few breaths, he had contacted several godlords of the Tianyu clan, confirming that Xianxia indeed died in the Xianhuang's secret realm, killed by the Galaxy Master. Display the scene from that time. The ancient god ancestor immediately said. The godlords of the Tianyu clan merely confirmed his question but did not discuss the details of what Xianxia faced at that moment. The ancient god ancestor could sense that this matter had a significant impact within the Tianyu clan, disturbing Tier 10 and Tier 11 godlords. Even the ancestors were paying attention to this incident. The mere death of Xianxia could not possibly cause such a stir. Life forms like Xianxia, a 9th rank of each era, the Tianyu clan would always have one. Many Tier 10 and Tier 11 godlords were once the strongest 9th ranks of their era. The godlords and ancestors of the Tianyu clan were concerned about the manner of Xianxia's death and the means employed by the Galaxy Master. The Galaxy Master was already the youngest 9th rank in human history, listed on assassination lists by various different species, attracting significant attention. Now, the Galaxy Master has exhibited such overpowering strength that even a peak clan like the Tianyu clan felt the prick of threat. At least for the future, once the Galaxy Master steps into 10th rank or even Tier 11, who, in the absence of a supreme being, can suppress him in a major battlefield? All right. The Madhwa traveler also realized the gravity of the situation. The combat power shown by the Galaxy Master was excessively high. Could it be that he wanted to replicate the spectacle of the 8th layer, breaking the myth of special 9th ranks within the 9th rank realm? Special 9th ranks typically refer to those life forms that have opened more than 20 million spatial layers. These strong beings already have the capacity to impact 10th rank, but they choose not to advance, instead continuously opening more spatial layers. Such 9th rank beings are much stronger than the common 9th ranks of the myriad heavy realm, hence they are known as special 9th ranks. The Madhwa traveler waved his hands, and within the Xianhuang's secret realm, the Galaxy Master appeared voluntarily, swiftly showing the scene of Xianxia self-destructing. These images, merely what the Madhwa traveler himself had seen, had limited information, but at least the ancient god ancestor could glean some truth from these partial snippets. The expression of the ancient god ancestor grew increasingly grave, especially just before Xianxia self-destructed. The number of spatial layers possessed by the Galaxy Master is at least over 100 million. The ancient god ancestor steadied himself and spoke. The reason he said, at least, was entirely limited by the Madhwa traveler's visual capacity. He could only feel the vast, boundless waves of spatial layers. If the ancient god ancestor himself had been present, He would definitely have been able to detect exactly how many spatial layers the Galaxy Master had occupied, but the Madhwa Traveler did not have this ability. The ancient god ancestor could only speculate based on the myriad pieces of information the Madhwa Traveler sensed and felt. 100 million spatial layers? And at least? The Madhwa Traveler took a deep breath. He was also 9th rank and even a special life, possibly not as talented as the ancestor, but he had also opened nearly 1 million spatial layers. Even so, the Madhwa Traveler was aware of the difficulties involved in developing spatial layers, the very essence of space often causing him major discomfort. 1 million spatial layers were already so difficult, let alone 100 million. The development of spatial layers is not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Opening 1 million spatial layers taking 100,000 years does not equate to opening 1 billion spatial layers costing 10 million years proportionally. The more spatial layers are opened, the greater the difficulty, which increases exponentially. This Galaxy Master has the strongest talent and gift I have seen in any being. The ancient god ancestor collected his thoughts, his tone filled with emotion. As a Tier 11 peak who had fully comprehended the rule of time, the ancient god ancestor naturally speculated that the Galaxy Master must have encountered some great fortune enabling him, in one moment, to be pursued while in the next, to turn the tables and counterattack. Chapter 613 Inconceivable News. Please subscribe. _2 Such opportunities are invariably related to time, and the ancient god ancestor knew quite a few of them, like Eternal Dream, Land Beyond, and so on. By utilizing exaggerated time flow rates, one achieves a leap in personal strength in a short period of time. This kind of method is not a secret among the 9th rank and 11th rank circles in the cosmic starry skies, even more so for the peak clans. Otherwise, why would human civilization, which has only emerged from its home planet for just over 2 million years, have produced so many terrifying powerhouses? Over 2 million years is merely the time flow rate of the main universe. As for those 11th rank powerhouses of human civilization, how many years they have actually experienced is another matter. But no matter how much time flow rate one experiences, some things cannot be achieved just by having enough time. For example, creating 100 million spatial layers at 9th rank. Even if you gave a genius like Xianxia 100 million or 1 billion years, it would still be impossible to achieve. And once there is a difference between the time flow rate and that of the main world, the perception of the great Daos rules becomes infinitely vague. Without the understanding of the space rules of the main universe, how can one possibly create spatial layers out of thin air? It's basically impossible. Ancestor. Madhwa Traveler was also profoundly shaken inside. The ancient god ancestor had been born countless tens of thousands of years ago, during which he even sponsored 2 supreme beings who had not yet grown up. He had seen countless peerless and defying geniuses and many unique lives that were the only ones of their kind in the universe. Yet now, the ancestor actually said that the Galaxy Master has the strongest innate talent he's ever seen? Ancestor, are you saying that the Galaxy Master could become a supreme being? Madhwa Traveler asked with a trembling soul. A supreme being? He had just crossed fists with the Galaxy Master not long ago. It's not that simple. The ancient god ancestor shook his head as he spoke. A supreme being is not something that can be achieved through talent and innate ability alone. It also requires various external factors and, crucially, luck. The ancient god ancestor had lived through countless long years, and the 2 still growing supreme beings he had supported did not have such heaven-defying innate abilities, less so than many special beings. Yet, in the end, they still stood at the pinnacle of the universe. But at least, the Galaxy Master has a greater hope of becoming a supreme being than most other beings, said the ancient god ancestor. While talent and innate ability might not help much in becoming a supreme being, they do grant powerful strength. With such strength, one can gain more resources and opportunities, which do help in becoming a supreme being. However, the ancient god ancestor seemed to think of something, and a trace of heartache appeared on his face, With such a good opportunity, how could you not seize it? Madhua, holding the time black hole, capable of trapping a special 9th rank being, could have proactively rescued the Galaxy Master before he made his move. Even if the Galaxy Master did not need saving, at the very least, he could have owed Madhua a favor. Ancestor, it was you who told me to take action at the critical moment, Madhua Traveler said, shrinking his head and speaking somewhat aggrieved. Can't you judge some things for yourself? The ancient god ancestor glanced at Madhua Traveler. Human civilization, virtual world. Within a private virtual world. Several 9th rank evolvers gathered here, engaging in casual conversation. How strong is the spirit will of a 9th rank evolver? Multitasking with ease, sending a strand of will into the virtual world for relaxation, without affecting what they were doing. That Xianxia of the Tianyu clan is too shameless. Who knows how many tens of thousands of years he has cultivated, and he specifically went to hunt down the Galactic Star Master, said several 9th ranks whose avatars entered the Xianxuang's secret realm. The content of their conversation mostly concerned matters occurring within the secret realm. It's a pity that several of the special 9th ranks of our human civilization are too far away and can't make it over in a short time, sighed a 9th rank evolver. The Xianxuang's secret realm is vast, and it suppresses any teleportation or instant movement methods, which results in low rescue efficiency. Duke has already spoken out. He said that if anything happens to the Galactic Star Master, he will go all out to hunt down the 9th rank of the Tianyu clan for the next duration the secret realm is open, said a third 9th rank. Duke is the strongest 9th rank evolver of the human civilization in this era, having opened nearly 40 million spatial layers, and his strength is even above Xianxia's. If Duke were to give up opportunities within the secret realm to chase down the 9th rank powerhouses of the Tianyu clan, it would be a major event. Those 9th rank lives of the Tianyu clan would certainly be terrified. But the few evolvers didn't think Xianxia would compromise. To pay the price of some ordinary 9th rank Tianyu beings in exchange for detaining Duke, the most powerful 9th rank of human civilization, was not too much of a loss. Moreover, they could even kill the Galactic Star Master once. However, even if the Galactic Star Master dies, at most he would lose an avatar and forego the chance in the Xianxuang's secret realm, which is still acceptable, said the first 9th rank evolver to speak. These old fellows wanted to use the opportunities within the Xianxuang's secret realm to attempt to go one step further. But the Galactic Star Master is still young, and the Xianxuang's secret realm isn't essential for him. What I'm worried about is that this incident may change the Galactic Star Master's mindset, another evolver said with a serious tone. Upon hearing this, the brows of the other 9th ranks slightly furrowed. Indeed, if it were them, being killed by Xianxia and losing an avatar wouldn't affect them in the slightest. But the Galaxy Master? Too young, and has experienced too few things, hardly having faced any setbacks. This kind of unparalleled prodigy, normally unstoppable once obstructed, the impact will not be small. Such examples are not non-existent in the history of human civilization, although the probability is not large, but the Galaxy Master is too important to human civilization. I hope the Galaxy Master won't be affected by the killing of his avatar. The last 9th rank evolver was just about to speak. Suddenly, several evolvers present almost received a message at the same time. The Galaxy Master counter killed Xianxia? And did so with an absolute advantage? Xianxia didn't even dare to engage, directly self-destructing that avatar? How is this possible? The 9th rank evolvers blinked, some not quite catching up. If it weren't for the fact that they received this message simultaneously and it was confirmed multiple times, they would have thought it was a joke. The Galaxy Master, after a long while, the 9th rank evolvers recovered from the shock. They looked at each other, their astonishment evident in their expressions. It was too incredible. How did the Galaxy Master manage to do it? Xianxuang's secret realm. Duke, who was rapidly moving through the heavy spatial layers, suddenly stopped. He was the strongest 9th rank life form of the human civilization in this era, intending to attempt a rescue of the Galaxy Master. Although he wasn't very hopeful, one always has to try. But now, Duke's expression was somewhat shocked. The Galaxy Master doesn't need my rescue? Did Huny perish at the hands of the Galaxy Master? Duke was a bit stunned. As a special 9th rank himself, he had clashed with Huny more than once. Therefore, Duke was well aware of Huny's strength. It was possible for him to defeat Huny, but to kill Huny? Even to force Huny into self-destructing voluntarily? At least in Duke's mind, unless a 10th rank powerhouse intervened, it seemed unlikely that any 9th rank could achieve this. Has the Galaxy Master broken through to 10th rank? Duke speculated internally, but immediately dismissed this possibility. This was the Xianxia secret realm, which rejects any life form above and including 10th rank. If the Galaxy Master was an ordinary 10th rank, with the transformation of his life essence, he would be repelled by the Xianxia secret realm immediately. Not 10th rank. Duke found it hard to believe, unable to conceive how exactly the Galaxy Master achieved all this with his strength. The events in the Xianxia secret realm naturally couldn't be kept secret, and the myriad clans in the cosmic starry skies learned of it at the first instance. The Galaxy Master, it's always the Galaxy Master. When he was at 8th layer, he could kill those unbeatable 8ths like butchering chickens. Now that he's 9th rank, is he going after those special 9th ranks too? Could it be that the Galaxy Master is the direct descendant of a supreme being from human civilization? No, even if he were the offspring of a supreme being, it shouldn't be this monstrous. Too amazing. The Galaxy Master is just over 100 years old, right? The many clans found it incredible. The Galaxy Master had already created enough miracles, but who would have thought that shortly after stepping into 9th rank, he would tear apart the myth of the special 9th ranks. Many clans began to sense subtly that in the long years to come, the shadow of the Galaxy Master would loom in the minds of every 9th rank powerhouse. Milky Way main star. Lin Yuan was also aware that his killing of Huny would have a great impact on the 10,000 universe races. But backed by human civilization, there was no need to conceal strength at every turn. Moreover, Lin Yuan's killing of Huny was far from his full effort, having mobilized less than 200 million spatial layers, far short of the over 2 billion spatial layers. Whoosh! With a thought from Lin Yuan, a bell-shaped secret treasure appeared before him, emanating strands of mysterious aura. Chapter 6:14 The Value of the 9th Stage Martial Tao Chapter, Seeking Subscriptions, Origin Fine Gold. Lin Yuan carefully observed. After absorbing his true body and 2 primordial spirits in the world of gods, this secret treasure had undergone several transformations. The aura it now exuded was not much different from that of a 10th rank secret treasure. By activating the origin clock and adding elemental body and blood rebirth divine skills, my defensive capabilities should be comparable to the 10th rank, right? A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. The more than 2 billion spatial layers allowed Lin Yuan's full eruption of power to surpass the ordinary 10th rank, even transcending most of the 10th rank in his understanding of the essence of space. In terms of defense, with the help of the origin clock and 2 divine skills, Lin Yuan was also comparable to any 10th rank. The defense here was direct, and in fact, occupying more than 2 billion spatial layers, it was very difficult for anyone as strong as the 10th rank to lock onto his true Bodhis position. Not to mention attacking him. Once I finish this expedition in the Xianxia secret realm, I'll start preparing for my breakthrough to the 10th rank. Lin Yuan made up his mind. He believed he had reached the pinnacle at the 9th rank stage, and as for continuing to open spatial layers, there was completely no need. The 20+ billion spatial layers, even if Lin Yuan spent a lot of time opening tens of thousands more layers, would almost have no impact compared to the 20+ billion scale. Moreover, after reaching more than 20 billion layers, the difficulty of opening each additional layer was unimaginably higher than before. That Huny really had quite a few good items, Lin Yuan thought, as he killed Huny in the Xianxia world and casually took the opponent's space bracelet, also glancing at the treasures inside. There were secret treasures, some Xianxia crystals, and some opportunities gained from the secret realm itself. Altogether, they were worth about 2 million cubic universe crystals. While this was certainly less compared to the normal special 9th rank price, considering that it was Huny's avatar entering the Xianxia's secret realm, not bringing 2 precious treasures was normal. Although a powerhouse that opened tens of millions of spatial layers virtually had no match in the Xianxia's secret realm, it did not mean they could not die. The Xianxia's secret realm itself still held many dangers, especially in the core area, where there were places capable of severely injuring special 9th rank individuals. Xianxia's secret realm. With a thought, Lin Yuan, along with Xilan, ventured into the depths of the multitudinous spatial layers. Galaxy Master, I guess I'm done for, Xilan sighed, her vitality exhausted, unable to contain the continuous burning of her physical soul and spirit will for 2.5 years. At this moment, Xilan's life signs had plummeted to the bottom. They'll take your treasures back for you. Lin Yuan understood Xilan's condition, and if it had been in the outside world, it might have been possible to save her with many cosmic rare treasures. But not in the Xianxia's secret realm. In fact, even if those means were available, Xilan would not have used them, as it was just an avatar after all. If it fell, she could still convene another one. To waste so many life-saving cosmic rare treasures for this would be completely unnecessary. Thank you, Galaxy Master, Xilan nodded, her form rapidly dissipating. She could have maintained herself for a few more months, but there was no need to do so. It was inevitable that she would disintegrate, and dissolving earlier would allow her to convene a new avatar sooner. Brother Xilan. Lin Yuan collected Xilan's leftover space bracelet, deciding to allocate a small portion of the gains he would make on his way to the core area to her. Without Xilan, it would have been difficult for Lin Yuan to have made it this far, and he acknowledged this favor. A calling sensation? Lin Yuan looked up towards the core area of the secret realm, understanding it deeper with the surge in the number of spatial layers he opened. If Lin Yuan was right, that calling sensation was situated in one of the spatial layers of the core area. Let's go and find out. After pondering briefly, Lin Yuan quickly headed towards the core area. This time, Lin Yuan did not conceal his aura, but intentionally displayed it, attracting the attention of the indigenous life forms of the secret realm. Under that calling sensation, Lin Yuan had no time to specifically search for native life to kill, but it did not hinder his drawing them in to kill. With Lin Yuan's current strength, he could virtually sweep through the Xianxia's secret realm, and no matter how many native life forms came, they were merely delivering cubic universe crystals to him. Under the stirring of the numerous spatial layers, even the nearby 9th rank different species became aware. This is bad, that's the Galaxy Master. Hurry, keep your distance. Even Huny died at the hands of the Galaxy Master, forced into self-detonation. Go, 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 don't let the Galaxy Master spot you. The Galaxy Master is heading towards the core area? This exploration, let's stay as far from the core area as possible. Countless 9th rank aliens were terrified, dreading that the Galaxy Master might discover them, especially those alien strong ones who had strained relationships with human civilization, who were particularly fearful and apprehensive. Even the few special 9th rank, upon sensing the aura of the Galaxy Master, quickly fled far away, not daring to stay any longer. Who are they kidding? Even Huny had perished at the hands of the Galaxy Master, let alone them? Even if a few special 9th rank were slightly stronger than Huny, the Galaxy Master didn't struggle much to kill Huny. To kill them, who were similar special 9th rank, it probably wouldn't be much trouble either. In such circumstances, those special 9th rank naturally kept as far away as possible. Even those without significant grievances toward human civilization refused to get too close to the Galaxy Master. Chapter 615 The value of the 9th stage Martial Tao chapter, seeking subscriptions, _2 No one wished to stay close to an existence that could kill them at any moment. It was far too risky. Moreover, for those special 9th rank evolvers who had lived until now, each had reaped a significant bounty, and in the eyes of the Galaxy Master, they were no different from moving lands of opportunity. Milky Way main star. Lin Yuan, satisfied, absorbed the origin clock into his body, continuing to nurture it with the power of the world. Ninth Stage Martial Tao Chapter. Lin Yuan's smile faded as he planned to upload the Ninth Stage Martial Tao Chapter first. This too was something that needed to be done each time he traversed, constantly updating the Martial Tao evolutionary path to attract more evolvers to cultivate and provide assistance for the future ultimate leap. Of course, harvesting a huge amount of merit points as well as vast wealth was also considered an additional gain. Uploading the Martial Tao evolutionary path to the Goddess of Wisdom didn't mean selling the rights to this evolutionary path. Lin Yuan remained the founder of the Martial Tao evolutionary path. For every sale of the Martial Tao evolutionary path, Lin Yuan would receive 30% of the profits. Goddess of Wisdom. Lin Yuan directly connected to the Goddess of Wisdom. Respected 9th rank evolver, Galaxy Master Scholar Lin Yuan, the Goddess of Wisdom is pleased to serve you. A solemn and cool voice sounded almost instantly in Lin Yuan's ear. I wish to upload the 9th Stage Martial Tao Chapter, Lin Yuan said. Immediately, he uploaded all the contents of the thoroughly arranged 9th rank chapter. Beyond this, Lin Yuan also uploaded the path of bloodline cultivation. He had summarized himself as a branch of the Martial Tao evolutionary path. Respected 9th rank evolver, Galaxy Master Scholar Lin Yuan, please wait a moment. The 9th rank chapter and bloodline cultivation path you have uploaded are currently being evaluated. After the Goddess of Wisdom spoke, she fell silent. Lin Yuan expected this and patiently began to wait. In the depths of the virtual world, a mysterious space, 9 majestic thrones stood tall. Just then, several figures appeared out of thin air. Xianxia Supreme Being, Feather Butterfly Supreme Being, Ancient Power Supreme Being, Void God Supreme Being. In total, 4 Evolver Tower Masters descended in consciousness. Goddess of Wisdom, what matter did you have to call us here for? The Void God Supreme Being slightly furrowed his brow. As the ultimate of the Void evolution path, he spent most of his time merging into the vast and endless origin source of space. It took a great effort for him to come out this time, only to be summoned by the Goddess of Wisdom. Void God, don't be so hot-tempered. The goddesses also act in the interest of human civilization, said the Ancient Power Supreme Being. The 9 Supreme Beings of human civilization had diverse characters. The Ancient Power Supreme Being was decisive and ruthless against different species, preferring to err on the side of killing rather than forgiving, but he was quite gentle towards his own kind. 4 Supreme Beings, the 9th rank chapter of the Martial Tao evolutionary path needs your evaluation. The Goddess of Wisdom's voice came through at that moment. The 9th Stage Martial Tao chapter? Is it the evolutionary path created by that strongest genius in the history of human civilization? The Void God Supreme Being's eyes slightly lit up. Yes. This youngster is growing too fast. He was just in the Xianhuang secret realm killing Hunyi of the Tianyu clan and has opened up at least 1 billion spatial layers. Feather Butterfly Supreme Being spoke with a hint of surprise in his voice. As a Supreme Being, capable of going against the current to witness the past of the cosmic starry sky, and observing various unimaginable geniuses, he was still astonished by Lin Yuan. 1 billion spatial layers? Even with the help of time treasures, opening up so many layers would be as difficult as reaching the skies. None of the progenies raised by the 9 Supreme Beings of human civilization, despite the pouring of various resources, managed to open up beyond 1 billion spatial layers at the 9th rank. Indeed, such a genius, never heard of, nor even spoken of before, Ancient Power Supreme Being was also somewhat amazed, and upon confirming Lin Yuan was human, he felt somewhat relieved. Hopefully, this youngster can make it to the end, sighed Xianxia Supreme Being. To make it to the end meant stepping into Tier 12, becoming the ultimate of an evolution path, ranking as the 10th Supreme Being of human civilization. Okay. Goddess of Wisdom, please show us the 9th Stage Martial Tao chapter. Void God Supreme Being was also intrigued, especially after seeing the assessment of Lin Yuan by the Feather Butterfly Supreme Being and the other 2 Supreme Beings. His curiosity was piqued even more. Especially Xianxia Supreme Being, he actually hoped that the young one could make it to the end. The void god ultimate being was keenly aware of the hardships involved in becoming a supreme being. It had practically nothing to do with talent. How many among those who reached the Tier 11 peak lacked talent or qualifications? It mainly depended on the accumulation in all aspects and that bit of luck. No Tier 11 peak evolver was certain of their success before attempting to become a supreme being. 4 supreme beings, please look. The Goddess of Wisdom sent the 9th stage Martial Tao chapter and the Bloodline Cultivation path separately to the 4 supreme beings. With the computational power of the 3 goddesses, even the 9th stage evolution path could be judged independently, without the need to inform the several supreme beings. But the potential of the Martial Tao evolutionary path was too significant. Relying only on computational power might result in omissions, so the input of the supreme beings was still needed. This would allow for a more accurate determination of the potential of the 9th stage Martial Tao chapter. Before long, the supreme beings had generally finished reviewing it. Interesting, this 9th rank chapter actually involves the transformation of the inner world? I can deduce that the transformed inner world will indeed be much more stable, one commented. Truly marvelous. Such a direction for transformation has never been seen in the cosmic starry skies before. How did this young one come up with it? Another marveled. Rare indeed, the 9th stage Martial Tao. Future 9th stage Martial Tao evolvers will be significantly stronger than other strong beings at the same level, added another. The 4 supreme beings quietly discussed. They naturally could see through the exquisite details of the 9th stage Martial Tao chapter and possessed a stable and perfected method of world transformation. World transformation? Was it that easy to achieve? A stable world, every part formed a perfect balance. Minor changes might even lead to the collapse of the entire world. And this bloodline cultivation path, it's several tiers more mature than those currently in our human civilization's bloodline evolution families. The void god ultimate being looked over the bloodline cultivation path and gave his evaluation. Indeed so, he concurred. The martial path evolutionary path, even if it doesn't transform into the supreme evolution path in the future, is definitely a foundation-level evolutionary path for our human civilization. Our human civilization really struck a treasure this time. The 4 supreme beings looked at each other and smiles appeared on their faces. 4 supreme beings, regarding the final determination of the 9th stage Martial Tao chapter, valued at 80 million merit points, and the bloodline cultivation path, valued at 50 million merit points, are there any objections? The Goddess of Wisdom spoke. 80 million merit points seems a bit low, rounded off to 100 million, one suggested. And that bloodline cultivation path, although it's best suited for the martial path evolutionary path, other evolvers can also benefit from it to some extent. Let's also set it at 100 million, Xianxia Supreme Being mused and said. We have the same opinion, concurred the Ancient Power Supreme Being and the other 2 Supreme Beings. In reality, the 3 goddesses had many grounds for their final determination, neither too much nor too little. But the 4 supreme beings felt that, facing a peerless genius like Lin Yuan, why not grant more merit points? After all, the Human Civilization Alliance was vast and prosperous. What benefited Lin Yuan also benefited human civilization. Determination approved, replied the Goddess of Wisdom. Milky Way main star. Lin Yuan was meditating with his eyes closed. Respected 9th rank evolver and Galaxy Master Lin Yuan scholar, the evaluation of your submitted 9th stage Martial Tao chapter and bloodline cultivation path has been completed. The solemn and cold voice of the Goddess of Wisdom came through. It's done. Lin Yuan opened his eyes and kept listening. After evaluation, the 9th stage Martial Tao chapter is valued at 100 million merit points, the bloodline cultivation path at 100 million merit points, totaling 200 million merit points. Would you like to receive them now? The Goddess of Wisdom asked quickly. 200 million merit points? Lin Yuan took a deep breath. What is the most precious in the Human Civilization Alliance? Civilization coins? Cosmic coins? Cosmic crystals? Numerous secret treasures? None of these. The most precious thing in human civilization is merit points. Lin Yuan had not understood this before, but after spending time at the Eternal Spring, he came to appreciate the value of merit points. Let's say this: human civilization has many strategic treasures that are not open to the public. Those different species, even if they offered a great price, couldn't obtain them. But as long as you are a human, if your authority meets the requirements, you can acquire them through merit points. In human civilization, merit points can achieve anything, and that is no empty talk. Even if you need to pay enough merit points, even a supreme being would work for you. Chapter 6:16 Martial Tao Rankings. Please subscribe. Just these 200 million merit points, of which 100 million actually comes from Bloodline Cultivation Path? Lin Yuan felt slightly surprised. The 9th stage Martial Tao chapter was valued at 100 million merit points, which, although still beyond expectations, was within a reasonable range. But the Bloodline Cultivation Path? This method of cultivation, limited by the upper bounds of one's bloodline and peaking at the 7th rank without the ability to open up an inner world within oneself, actually holds the same value as the 9th stage Martial Tao chapter? Is it because of its popularity? Lin Yuan pondered. The 9th stage Martial Tao chapter targets a group. It's for the evolvers of the Martial Tao cultivation system, and it's only useful if cultivated to the 9th stage Martial Tao. 9th rank evolvers? There are so few 9th rank evolvers within the whole human civilization, let alone the multitude within the Xianxia secret realm. That's all the life from across the cosmic starry skies combined. All the peak clans, powerful races, and so on, along with some unique life forms, loners, etc., spread among individual clans, making 9th rank evolvers quite rare. But looking across the universe, there are indeed some 9th rank beings. But still just some, the overall number remains limited. But the Bloodline Cultivation Path can be said to be a branch of the martial arts evolution system. In fact, it could completely divorce itself from the martial arts evolution system. Just like the body cultivation lineage in the Central Divine China world, not only can the disciples of the Daoed Immortal sect practice body cultivation, but devil cultivators and others can also attempt body cultivation techniques. Even with its broad popularity, it doesn't merit 100 million. Lin Yuan was still somewhat puzzled. After all, the Bloodline Cultivation Path wasn't his unique creation. Human civilization had bloodline evolution families a long time ago, but their refinement and application of bloodlines were not as perfected as the Bloodline Cultivation Path Lin Yuan had summarized. What concept is 100 million merit points? It's almost equivalent to the total merit points needed by 2 8th layer citizens, and there are far fewer 8th layer citizens in human civilization than 9th rank evolvers. There must be other factors influencing its value, Lin Yuan speculated. He didn't know that in the original valuation by the 3 goddesses, the Bloodline Cultivation Path was only worth 50 million merit points. It was several supreme beings who forcefully raised its value to 100 million. It was to facilitate Lin Yuan's smoother development. Anyway, as long as Lin Yuan was a human evolver, giving a little more meant little to them, no loss at all. My current total of merit points is now 208 million. Lin Yuan felt pleased, of which 200 million merit points had just been acquired. And the remaining 8 million merit points included 3 million left over from the last promotion to an 8th layer citizen, and the other 5 million were Lin Yuan's reward for killing many 9th rank alien races in the Xianxia secret realm. Even though he only killed avatars, those were avatars of 9th rank alien races, not much less significant than utterly killing an 8th rank alien race, let alone there was a special 9th rank like Xianxia among them. It's a pity, after I killed Xianxia, those hostile 9th rank alien races of human civilization all gave up the many opportunities in the Xianxia secret realm, hiding in some corner. Lin Yuan slightly shook his head. The Xianxia secret realm is vast, many times more expansive than the world of gods, and contains spatial layers far exceeding 1 trillion-fold. If those 9th rank alien races want to hide, unless Lin Yuan conducts a carpet search, it will be very hard to find them. And a carpet search is too time-consuming. Even with Lin Yuan having opened up over 2 billion spatial layers, searching at full strength during the 100 years the Xianhuang's secret realm is open, he could at most cover 1/10,000th of the secret realm. Forget it, finding the source of that calling sensation is more important. Lin Yuan's perspective shifted to inside the Xianhuang's secret realm. At this moment, his Taiyang divine spirit was rushing towards the core area, creating quite a stir along the way, occasionally attracting native life forms of the secret realm and resolving them with ease, taking away the Xianhuang crystals. The present Lin Yuan, within the Xianhuang secret realm, aside from human civilization's evolvers and those clan powerhouses following human civilization, hardly any 9th rank strong beings dared to approach. The deterrent force was too great. Since the Xianhuang secret realm opened, not a single 9th rank strong being has caused such significant influence. Before making a move, they forced those from peak clans to retreat, preferring to forsake many opportunities within the secret realm rather than risk exposing themselves. Right, let's check the current ranking of the martial path evolutionary path. Lin Yuan's thoughts stirred. While still at the 8th rank, the martial path evolutionary path was already first in the Qikuan star domain evolutionary ranking, and first in the Anan Star Alliance evolutionary ranking, with the 8th rank martial path overpowering a host of 9th stage evolution paths reaching the pinnacle of the Anan Star Alliance. Now that the martial path evolutionary path has reached 9th rank, and with just the 9th stage martial Tao chapter valued at 100 million merit points by the 3 goddesses, along with the bloodline cultivation path as its branch. Lin Yuan was eagerly anticipating the true ranking of the martial path evolutionary path. First in Kanglan Star, first in Qikuan Star Domain, first in Anan Star Alliance, 53rd in the Southern Star region. Lin Yuan glanced over the latest ranking information of the martial path evolutionary path. Ranked at 53rd in the Southern Star region's evolutionary ranking? Lin Yuan's vision brought up a virtual screen, with the rankings of the Southern Star region's evolutionary path scrolling from top to bottom. The Southern Star region, one of human civilization's 5 major star regions, spans an area calculated in light years. Countless evolutionary scholars, 9th rank evolvers, 10th rank evolvers, and even 11th rank evolvers have emerged from its history. Every evolutionary path that has made it onto the Southern Star region's evolutionary ranking is one of humanity's topmost, possessing profound influence. Earlier, the 8th rank martial path evolutionary path didn't even have the qualifications to be on the Southern Star region's evolutionary ranking list. Fortunately, the creator of this evolutionary path was a mysterious evolutionary scholar of human civilization, which was acceptable. After all, an evolutionary scholar was a representation of the pinnacle of human civilization, and each evolutionary scholar represented its depth. The minimum requirement for an evolutionary scholar was to be an 8th rank evolver. Many evolutionary scholars' strength reached the 10th or 11th rank. When will this mysterious evolutionary scholar update the 9th rank chapter of the martial path evolutionary path? A high-ranking citizen asked expectantly. I think it's difficult. Many people thought it was difficult before the update of the 6th rank chapter, 7th rank chapter, and 8th rank chapter. It's different. How could the 9th rank chapter be the same as the previous ones? Many evolvers and high-ranking citizens had some disagreements. Foolish. Still daring to question the update speed of the martial path evolutionary path? A thin man sat in the corner of the Central Plaza area. He came from the Qikuan Star domain and had personally witnessed the rise of the martial path evolutionary path, knowing that this evolutionary path couldn't be speculated by common sense. The martial path evolutionary path. Alas, my foundation is already set, and the cost of switching to training in the martial path evolutionary path would be too great, the thin man regretted. Immediately, he opened the detailed overview of the martial path evolutionary path, wishing to take another look at the content of the 7th rank chapter and 8th rank chapter. Although he had not practiced the martial path evolutionary path, He had purchased all the chapters from 1st rank to 8th rank. Even if he couldn't make the martial path evolutionary path his core evolutionary path, using it as a secondary practice was no problem. Ha! The thin man opened the detailed information of the martial path evolutionary path and casually refreshed it. His expression suddenly froze. For he saw 3 new words added after the original 8th rank chapter. 9th rank chapter. Has the martial path evolutionary path been updated with the 9th rank chapter? The thin man was greatly shocked. He looked around. Most people were still disputing, while a few evolvers had slightly changed expressions, probably noticing the updated 9th rank chapter. 9th rank evolutionary path. The thin man thought deeply. After the update to the 9th rank chapter, the martial path evolutionary path would officially enter the ranks of the 9th rank evolutionary path. And in evolution rankings still first, the thin man then looked towards the distant towering evolution rankings and saw that the martial path evolutionary path was still hanging at the top. Chapter 6:22 I've waited too long, please subscribe, Emperor Xianhuang? Lin Yuan looked surprised, having never considered this direction before, regardless of whether from Chikuan Star Lord's mysterious yellow evolution path or the mysterious yellow secret realm itself. It was always mysterious yellow. But Emperor Xianhuang? Lin Yuan had never thought in that direction. Yes, both Emperor and Xianhuang, I guess you are referring to Emperor Xianhuang, said the stone statue Shinji with a nod. What is the origin of Emperor Xianhuang? Lin Yuan immediately asked. Whether it's Emperor Xianhuang or Emperor Xianhuang, both are supreme beings at the ultimate level, and no supreme being has been able to pinpoint the exact coordinates of the mysterious yellow secret realm to this day. Emperor Xianhuang, that is a strong name occasionally known by my master from some cosmic relic. It is said that the lineage established by Emperor Xianhuang was extremely famous eons ago, and Emperor Xianhuang himself had progressed far in the ultimate domain. Stone statue Shinji seemed to be lost in memory. Eons ago? Lin Yuan pondered. Yes, in the era my master lived in, hardly anyone knew of Emperor Xianhuang, and he too knew only snippets about this emperor from some relics. In the end, Emperor Xianhuang disappeared mysteriously, and his lineage declined. By the time my master rose to prominence, it was almost completely forgotten, said the stone statue Shinji. He was not a real life form but rather something akin to an artifact spirit, his mind filled with abundant memories instilled by the Moyu Tower master, making him quite knowledgeable. Emperor Xianhuang also disappeared mysteriously? Lin Yuan was slightly startled, as the Moyu Tower master too had vanished suddenly, leading to the tower's decline, and now Emperor Xianhuang had met a similar fate. Do you know why the Moyu Tower master suddenly disappeared? Lin Yuan thought for a moment, then asked directly. Why my master disappeared? Stone statue Shinji fell silent for a while. Now that you are a core member of my demonic Jade Tower, you are entitled to know some matters. Before my master disappeared, he once told me he wanted to go to a place, stone statue Shinji said, shaking his head. And after that he was gone, said stone statue Shinji, his tone complex. To a place. Lin Yuan's mind rippled. The Moyu Tower Master was most proficient in space, the Great Space Tao was vast and limitless, and a 9th rank being could comprehend the complete space rules, but that was just a facet of the true space rules. To completely transform the space rules into your own Great Space Tao was the domain of the Supreme Beings, and even within the same Great Space Tao, they were not alike, not even similar.